evening from a very noisy St James's Park. Newcastle has been the party capital of the UK for the past 2.5 weeks as this city celebrated their first domestic trophy for 70 years. From the scenes at Wembley to the bus parade through the city in front of hundreds of thousands of Toon Army, it has been quite the celebration. But tonight they must let it go as they return to the pitch for the first time since that special Sunday and set their sights on achieving one of their other aims this season, a return to the Champions League. They face a stiff opponent in a Brentford side who have won their last 5 games away from home and themselves are looking to end a record-breaking season on a high. Pat Nevin is alongside me, and Pat, the buzz in this city is still hitting sky high, but it will be so interesting to see how Newcastle perform on the back of what has been such a special couple of weeks.
Yeah, remember they're against a very good team, as you correctly say, in Brentford, very good on the road as well, so it's always going to be a difficult game, but they know where they're sitting just now. That, yeah, they won that trophy, yeah, the noise is incredible, and as the teams walk out it's getting even louder, but on top of that they'll look at that league table as we speak just now. Newcastle 6th place, 1 point off where they want to be. They do not want to drop anything now and would love to overtake Manchester City because this is their game in hand.
It is indeed, and the black and white flags are waved around St James's Park. There is a gold and silver tifo behind the goal to my left at the Leazes end that celebrates their cup victory, and in the opposite stand a huge flag of Eddie Howe with the words Eddie Howe, history made. This city will celebrate for a long, long time, Pat, but like you say, back to league business, back to achieving one of their other ambitions, and one that I think Eddie Howe would cherish almost just as much as that cup final victory to get back to the Champions League this season.
Well, he would, and the owners would, because the owners want the money, and that's how you build a club, by having the money from getting into the Champions League. They'd love to have those Champions Leagues back here again, because I don't know if they did as well as they could have done in the last time when they got there, but it was the first time for forever basically, and they got there, and I think they just had too many games and not enough players. They're prepared this time, but you got to get there first. So yeah, massively important that they don't drop anything just now. But as you say, 2 very good teams in Brentford. They're coming out here with, they're not going to get down, they're mid-table, but they know with a great run or a even pretty good run, they'll be up there certainly looking for European places at the very least, so it means just as much to them.
It does indeed. Let's run through the 2 teams this evening then. And Newcastle United, they are the same 11 that started their Wembley victory 2.5 weeks ago. So Nick Pope is in goal. It is a back 4, Tino Livramento again on that left hand side, Dan Burn and Fabian Schär partnered in the middle with Kieran Trippier on the right. Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes wearing the captain's armband will be the midfield with Joe Linton just in front of them. Harvey Barnes on that left hand side with Anthony Gordon serving the 3rd of his 3-match suspension. Jacob Murphy on the right, and their big goal threat Alexander Isak leads the line. For Brentford, the visitors, 2 changes for them. Mark Flecken stays in goal, Keane Lewis-Potter is at left back, Ethan Pinnock and Nathan Collins continue their partnership in the centre of defence. One of the changes comes at right back as Sepp Vandenberg replaces Christopher Ayer. In the midfield, Christian Norgard and Vitaly Janelt, with Igor Yarmouk, the other change for Brentford, coming in just in front of them. He replaces Mikkel Damsgaard. Kevin Schade is on the left, Brian Mbeumo on the right, and Johan Wissa, who has 3 goals in his last 4 Premier League games, leads the line for Brentford. So the 2 teams out on the pitch, Newcastle in their black and white stripes, Brentford in their changed kit of pink and maroon, I think we'll call that, Pat. Pink shirts, maroon shorts and pink socks.
I'm sure there's another name for it, like salmon or something like that. There'll be a weird name for it. Immediately Brentford have obviously won the toss and decided to turn Newcastle around, and I have to say it's the thing that I've been talking about for decades. I don't know why every team doesn't do that. Win it and change the home team round. just to put them off their stride a little.
So look, Newcastle will be playing from left to right towards the Gallowgate end in this first half. Brentford right to left, and as the crowd begins to hide away their black and white flags that have been waved all around the stadium, and Newcastle get us underway. Fabian Schär lofting it long into what is a clear night sky here in Newcastle. Brentford win it back though and try to go on an instant attack through Brian Mbeumo, but again play is overturned. But this time Newcastle heading it, and it's been a little bit frantic these opening few seconds, changing possession all the time, and Brentford trying to calm things down with the ball heading back to Mark Flecken.
So one of the things I wanted to say, for many years I've wanted to say the phrase international Dan Burn playing at the back there. It's lovely to be able to say it, and rightly so, because he had the week from heaven, didn't he?
What a couple of weeks it was, certainly for Dan Burn, scoring at Wembley for his home team to win their first domestic cup in 70 years, to then get called up to the England squad and make his debut. He must be pinching himself, Pat.
I mean, it's extraordinary considering he was left back, and a lot of people were looking and thinking, you don't look like a left back, and you know, but he's been moved into the central area originally because of a couple of injuries. The full-back positions now are set, so you know, you wondered if he was going to get a game all the time. He looks like the most important player half the time. He's been brilliant in there.
Jacob Murphy looking for the ball inside to Isak. It is cleared long, and it is Dan Burn who gets on the end of it, finds Kieran Trippier on the left hand side. It goes inside, Joe Linton inside the penalty area, pops it back out to Livramento. His cross comes in, there's Isak, and that is so close to the opening goal, just wide of Flecken's left hand post. Beautiful ball in from Livramento, and Isak very nearly on the score sheet in these opening 2 minutes.
He doesn't miss them very often, does he? It's to the back post. Look, he's getting up between two players. It's not an easy tap-in header, but he's got there. He's got his head onto. He's just turned his head away at the last minute and not gone through the header. But the big thing for me there, left-hand side, Harvey Barnes and Livramento. Great understanding between them two on the left-hand side. No Anthony Gordon for the last game of his suspension, but I do rate Harvey Barnes as a special player, and he's building a brilliant understanding with Livramento.
Yes, Livramento out on that left-hand side with the injury to Lewis Hall, and he's made that position look
easy,
very comfortable for himself.
And consider him, stick him on the right and he's just as good. He just looks exactly the same. He's a very, very, very special young player. He's
on the ball now, and he pops it wide to Barnes. Barnes playing the 1-2 with Isak, level with the edge of the penalty area on the left-hand touchline. He drops it back to Joe Linton, who's got Dan Burn just behind him, and Burn goes square to Fabian Schär. He's got Murphy ahead of him. It's a loose pass from Murphy though, but Schär is able to make up the ground, get on the end of it as Trippier plays it inside to Bruno Guimaraes. Guimaraes spinning well, but he comes up to Norgard, who does what Norgard does so well, wins possession back for Brentford, but Kevin Schade runs straight into Kieran Trippier, who looks like he's taken a little bit of a sore one there, still down the Newcastle right back, and Dan Burn has the ball on the edge of his own penalty area. Trippier back up on his feet now as Newcastle look to try and launch another attack with Joe Linton on the ball with Isak over his shoulder. He was looking for Tonali, but it's gone all the way through to Barnes, who now finds Tonali on the left hand side of the penalty area, but that cross won't reach Isak. Cleared again by Brentford, but Brentford, Pat, really struggling to get out and hold on to the ball.
Yeah, asking if it'll be a hangover Newcastle. Well, early days, but it doesn't look like it, does it? They've started on fire, going down both sides, and Trippier, that ball he's trying to go into, not a great ball played by Bruno Guimaraes there, but either side, right, left, Tonali flying from the central midfield area as well. It's just got a brilliant attacking attitude towards the side just now, but do not forget, and I don't think anyone ever does, Brentford on the break are pretty special themselves. They've just not had the chance to break yet.
These two teams actually met in Newcastle's run to the final at Wembley in the quarter-finals of the League Cup, and of course Newcastle coming out on top. 3-1 it was that day, and Sandro Tonali on the score sheet twice. He has started well here, lively here at St James's Park again. Ethan Pinnock just clearing things up for Brentford, pops it back to his goalkeeper, and Flecken moves it out onto the right hand side to Nathan Collins, who's got options ahead of him, and he's looked for a pass into the middle, got it all wrong, straight to Tonali, and now Newcastle are on the break again. Livramento to Isak, hugging the left hand side touchline, trying to drive forward. He has support from Harvey Barnes behind him. He's got Tonali inside. The fluorescent orange boots of Sandro Tonali shining in the floodlights here at St James's Park. The ball's moved out onto the right to cuts inside Jacob Murphy and finds Fabian Schär just in behind him. Bruno Guimaraes looking to twist and turn past Kevin Shaddy, but Shaddy holds him up momentarily. Bruno still with the ball at his feet, just halfway between the halfway line and the edge of the penalty area. Newcastle working it from right to left, and now Harvey Barnes trying to drive forward. He's got Mbeumo, he gets the cross in though, he's looking for Murphy, but it's headed away as far as Trippier, who ends up getting a real sore one. The ball cleared by Norgard straight off the Newcastle player's face, and Kieran Trippier is down again. The referee stopped play.
Do you know, Kieran Trippier's come out tonight really excited, in a right good mood, looking forward to a great game. 6 minutes in, he's just been poleaxed there, and before that he got a really dull one on his thigh as well. He must be thinking, but I didn't deserve this. But he's got forward. Look where he is when he goes down though. He's right on the 18-yard line. That's your right full-back. That shows you the positivity that Newcastle have got about this. One other thing, we talk a lot about Newcastle just now because they've been on the ball most of the time. It's a really interesting thing what Brentford do. When they get half decent possession, they almost miss the midfield. It's like a front four right up on the back line of Newcastle, who are a back four, want to ask some questions man on man, and it's a really clever tactic. I really like what they're doing.
Yes, Thomas Frank enjoying what his team are producing this season. They've already won more games this season than in the whole of last season. In fact, they've won more Premier League games after 29 games than they have in their history. The ball in Mbeumo passing it in, trying to find Wissa, but it's cleared by Schär. And now Jacob Murphy is able to get onto loose ball and knock it back to Trippier, who goes looking again for his winger, but it's cut out by Keane Lewis Potter, who's got Shaddy ahead of him. Now Norgard to Janelt, and Janelt's got Shaddy in front of him, but he's stopped in his tracks by Bruno Guimaraes, and back it goes with Norgard. And Brentford now trying to create a little bit of a threat in the final third. Out wide it goes to Mbeumo, level with the edge of the penalty area on the right hand touchline, drops it back to Vandenberg, the tall rangy defender. Mbeumo again on that right hand side, but he's tackled well by Livramento, and then he's had a little kick out at Livramento, brought him down, and it will be a free kick for Newcastle.
So it's all in there for Livramento, because when he's brought down by Mbeumo, he's falling on the ball, and that can wind you sometimes. Interesting little battle that, because Mbeumo's a very good player, but he's also lightning quick, and Livramento's going to get questions asked of him, but he doesn't seem affected by it. He's still flying forward, he's still leaving Mbeumo behind him. We'll find out if that's either brave or foolhardy as time goes by.
Brilliant ball through to Isak, but the flag goes up. He thought he was through on the goalkeeper there, but the linesman's flag went up very, very quickly. Lovely ball through to Isak, and that is where he can hurt you. Still goalless here at St James's Park, but very nearly a sniff again for Alexander Isak.
Yeah, and very well, your commentary says it's spot on there. The flag went up early. When's the last time you actually said that? You don't say it, you never say it.
Joy.
And it was so clearly and obviously offside, and I'm not disappointed with the assistant doing that. When you're 100% sure and it is yards offside, just put the flag.
Absolutely. And it went up very quickly to deny Alexander Isak a clear sight of goal. He has had the best chance in this game, heading just wide from a Livramento cross. That is the best chance we've had in the match so far. And now Newcastle go forward again. Murphy just unable to get on the end of the pass, and Lewis Potter's able to put it out for a Newcastle throw-in, which Trippier takes quickly to Bruno Guimaraes inside the Brentford half. He's got Joe Linton ahead of him, and now he pops it back to Guimaraes, who's got Tonali out to the right hand side. Trippier is there inside to Guimaraes one more time, who tries to feed it inside the defender, but Lewis Potter reads it well and now tries to spark an attack with Mbeumo, who's got the break of the ball, but Livramento is in between him and the ball, and then just clipped the back of Livramento's heels.
We were talking about that little battle between the two of them, Mbeumo and Livramento. And the thing is, Livermelton's get the best of it so far. He's won the ball each time he's got there. He doesn't look as if he's going to be embarrassed by pace, which is a big thing if you're Mbeumo, because he used that a lot. And also, Livermelton's getting forward. But Mbeumo knows he only needs to win it once. And if he wins it once and gets away and scores or makes a goal, then he'll feel he's won the day.
Well, it is Livermento starting this attack right up level of the penalty area. Lovely ball inside to Joelinton, and that's flashed across the face of goal from the Brazilian. A good opportunity once again for Newcastle. Again, Livermento involved, and that came very close.
Oh, they're great down that left-hand side. They really are. I mean, he has got the eye, Livermento. Yeah, Harvey Barnes did a very clever thing there by moving out of the space and leaving the space for Livermento to go into. And Mbeumo, he's a winger, he doesn't want to go back there, but he has to go back there. Didn't catch him, but the ball into Joelinton there, that was a lovely turn, wasn't it? I didn't think he would get the power on it, but I think Joelinton's got power to burn.
He does indeed. Lewis Potter now just inside the Newcastle half, knocks it back to Janelt. Norgard inside him. Norgard, who just signed a new contract for Brentford. Thomas Frank very happy that he will be staying for a while longer. Breaks up play so well for Brentford and looks forward, gets the ball moving forward. He's got it back now from Mbeumo, and inside he plays it to Janelt. Back with Pinnock. Lewis Potter on the left hand side. He goes long this time, looking for the run of Shadow, who's got in behind Scher, but Scher gives him a nudge in the back, and that will be a free kick to Brentford on this left hand side, just level with the edge of the penalty area. A dangerous position for Brentford.
And a really silly foul to give away. I mean, he's going absolutely nowhere, and Scher's gone over there and said, well, I didn't do much, what did I do? And the entire ground knows exactly what he did. He just nudged him, more than nudged, he shoved him in the back, got nowhere near the ball, and it's a very silly free kick to give away and a very dangerous position for a cross.
It is indeed, and it's Brian Mbeumo who will launch it into the penalty area. Brentford's first real opportunity in this game. Newcastle have dominated these early proceedings, just 12 minutes in. They've had the better chances, still goalless though. So could this be the opportunity for Brentford to break the deadlock? Every player up and in and around that Newcastle penalty area as the referee just sorts out a few little tussles and now blows the whistle. So Mbeumo raises the right hand, left foot in, the cross goes. That's going to be easily cleared by Harvey Barnes at the front post, but it does go out for the first corner of the evening, and it will be a Brentford corner.
You're absolutely right, he clears it well, but it's a horrible one to take. It's just at the front post, it's between him and the goalkeeper. He knows he has to lunge at it, and if you get that one wrong, it could be an OG very, very easily. So it may not have looked like the best ball, but that's an ugly ball to be able to defend well.
Well, Newcastle are looking at those above them, and the one directly above them is Manchester City. They have taken the lead this evening through Jack Grealish as Brentford's corner comes in, cleared by Isak to the edge of the box. Janelt wins that header, falls to Mbeumo, he unleashes it, but well wide of Nick Pope's right hand post.
Good little moment there for Isak. Yeah, he actually gets the header at the near post. I mean, you do, if you're a Newcastle fan, you want to see him up the park as much as possible, because quite often what you'll find with Isak is he does tend to run out of gas, maybe about 65, 70 minutes, and you want to get the most out of him. So the fewer minutes he spends defending and running back, the absolute better for not only him but for Newcastle United. But he has looked live at the start of this game.
Yeah, he's having a fantastic season, Alexander Isak. 19 Premier League goals this season, as the ball goes up for Joelinton, but the header is won by Collins, and again Collins will clear up that long ball that was looking for the run of Barnes. In fact, Flecken's going to come out and clutch it into his hands. He rolls it out to Pinnock. Pinnock under pressure from Murphy. He's got Keane Potter outside him. Flecken again goes long. It's a beautiful take from Vandenberg as he drives forward looking for the run of Wissa. Doesn't reach him, but it's come back, and now it's out to Mbeumo, right hand side, twisting, turning, cross coming in. It's long, it's deep, it's looking for Shadi. Brilliant defensive header from Trippier. If that had not been headed clear for the corner, Shadi was undoubtedly getting that one on target.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great ball, and again, horrible to defend. And Brown cuts back onto his left foot there, and he doesn't think twice. He is one of those wingers. He's not going to dance about and take it around the defender 4 times. Half a yard, zipped into their dangerous areas, and all his teammates know that, so they're going to attack it.
So second corner of the evening for Brentford, and it will be Lewis Potter that takes this one with the right foot. Brentford with everybody up into Newcastle's half. He goes short, Lewis Potter gets it back. This time it goes in, cleared by Livramento, only as far as Yarmouk. The Ukrainian goes out to the right hand side to Mbeumo, who's come deep, halfway between the halfway line and the Newcastle area, and he's moved it back to the right hand side for Lewis Potter, who goes long, but Livramento will clear that to Trippier, who's got space on the right hand side. Tonali inside him. Tonali's pass upfield is blocked by Norgard, but does go out for a Newcastle throw. And this game has changed a little the balance of it.
No, you've taken the words out of my mouth. There was a storm to be weathered in that first 10 minutes by Brentford. They have weathered it now. They're much more assured on the ball in the midfield area. In fact, the last 3 or 4 minutes they've looked a better side. So this game always looks as if it's going to be a tight one. It certainly doesn't look any different from that now.
Beautiful little play from Guimaraes to flick the ball behind him and keep possession as Harvey Barnes twists up and turns up on that left hand side. He loses out, but the ball falls kindly to Livramento, who's got Tonali in space in the centre of Brentford's half. Spreads it out to Scher, calls from the Newcastle fans to shoot. He doesn't, and Brentford win possession back. But a brilliant tackle from Trippier to deny Shada the opportunity to open his legs up down this left hand side.
It was a very good tackle and he timed it very well, but really strangely he went with it with his left foot. It's a really dangerous thing to do in that situation, because if you mistime it, it's a right footed tackle all day long. If you mistime that, you're going to get a yellow card 100%.
Well, he timed it perfectly, so avoided that as he prepares to take a throw in just down below us, just level with the Newcastle dugout. He goes all the way back though to Fabian Schär inside his own half. He's got Dan Burn to his left, and now out to Livramento. Livramento goes inside to Barnes, but Barnes isn't able to get the pass back to him. He's under pressure, Harvey Barnes, going back towards his own goal, under pressure from Yarmouk, who's done well. Again, Barnes keeps possession though, and eventually gets it to Dan Burn, who just launches it clear over the halfway line to Nathan Collins, who tries to launch it back down towards Yarmouk, but far too much on it. It's gone all the way through to Nick Pope, who will try and calm this game down. And it's quite a tempo, this game, Pat, end to end.
It is, and part of the reason is actually the fullbacks. When you're just watching Van den Berg there, he was a further forward player. Now he's the right fullback. Now we know that Livramento doesn't seem to be able to stop and flying forward as well, and it is a big part of what both of these teams are trying to do. You know, going through the middle looks as if it's going to be difficult with the power that is in there in the two defensive areas. So it's the wide areas and particularly overlapping fullback that look as if they could be important.
Well, it's Joe Linton losing out in that midfield to Christian Norgard, Brentford captain, who Brentford now winning a free kick, just a late one on Collins.
I don't think he's badly injured though, but when a player comes towards you, we shall see, because he actually hasn't moved a great deal, but the studs were up a little bit. I think he's pointing at his shin, but in actual fact if there's any pain it will be on his toe, because his toe was trodden on. Here's a weird one. I played football for nearly 20 years and can remember my toe being stood on about once. You watch every single game of football you go to now, and it's constant, isn't it?
The boots are different now, Pat. They're like wearing socks.
There is part of that, you know. They don't use the kangaroo leather anymore, which was the best. They don't use that anymore. But I do think the way people tackle now is more of a stamp tackle now, to make sure that the studs aren't lifted, and that also leads to a lot more of those little injuries.
Yep, well, he is up now, Nathan Collins, and Flecken takes the free kick but goes long to Dan Burn. But now Livramento under pressure, and Collins does really well on that right hand side, keeps possession, and inside he's got Mbeumo, but there's a toe in there from Tonali. It will be another Brentford corner, but good work from the centre half.
Oh, good, but jinky winger down there on the right hand side there, right on the byline. really good feet there and made sure he held on to the ball. 2 or 3 tackles to cope with, but still managed to win a corner, and that's 3 corners in fairly quick succession now for Brentford. They've not got any joy of them yet, and they've tried it short, they've tried it near post. Let's see what they go for this time from the right hand side.
Brian Mbeumo will take it as we look for the opening goal here at St James's Park, and it comes, a jump from Wissa, but it's gone deep to the back post, and Collins wasn't able to get on it. Tonali trying to drive out of defence, but Collins just gives him a little nudge. Down he goes, free kick to Newcastle, and they will play it short and try and take the ball out of their own half. Bruno Guimaraes on the ball now, he's looking ahead of him. Lovely ball through to Isak, but Pinnock with his long legs were there to make sure it didn't get all the way through. Good defending from the Jamaican centre half, and Brentford keeping possession now in the centre of the pitch with Norgard. He's got Yarmouk outside him, and Yarmouk pops it right to Brian Mbeumo just over the halfway line, and Mbeumo finds Norgard. He's continued his run, inside it goes, but a little touch from Tonali will take it back to Nick Pope, and it won't get all the way through to Johan Wissa.
They do spell it very well. I mean, we've got 2 players that can do that sitting midfield row, Tonali and Guimaraes, right? One of them does it and the other one flies forward. So you'd think they have a brilliant understanding. But I've had one criticism of the 2 of them. They never seem to play positively forward with each other. You know, they cover each other, but they're never really a duo. If they could become a duo, they could be unstoppable.
2 big favourites here at Newcastle, though. Tonali and certainly Bruno Guimaraes has become almost an adopted Newcastle-Union. Is that a word?
Well, it's actually, I prefer him a little bit further forward, so Tonali's a more deep one now.
Murphy wins the ball off Pinnock. He's got Isak alongside him. Isak against Collins. He gets the shot away over the top of the crossbar. It rises, and Flecken is able to just watch it sail over his bar.
It's very noticeable. You know, many defenders in that situation, they would quite simply go and tackle the player, but they know it's Isak, and if it's Isak, you don't dive in. So he's waited and he's given him a half a chance. Not getting the ball on target there's a bit of a surprise. With Isak, he almost always makes the goalkeeper make a save. On that occasion, over the bar.
Always on the rise, that effort from Isak, but Pinnock caught in possession by Jacob Murphy, pressed him really well to win the ball and start that attack, and that's a couple of glimpses of goal Alexander Isak has had in this opening 22 minutes, but it's Brentford looking to find a way to attack now. Yarmouk gets the break of the ball off Dan Burn, and he's got Mbeumo. He plays it back to Norgard, centre of the Newcastle half. Norgard on the ball again. He's got Collins just deeper than him, and he now plays it out to Mbeumo, but Newcastle able to clear things up, and now Joe Linton looking long again for Isak, again cut out, and again it falls to the feet of a Newcastle player, Livramento, who now gets the ball through to Isak on the left hand touchline, driving in towards the penalty area. He's looking for options. He's got Livramento just outside him, and now Livramento looking for options. Tonali drops deep, plays a little 1-2 with Joe Linton. Tonali now to the right to Jacob Murphy. Newcastle just trying to find a way through, but Murphy goes from the effort for all of 20 yards, and it's just wide of the post. Never going to worry the goalkeeper.
Wasn't it? Just having a look there, watching Joe Linton moving, and he's not moving well at all. He's got a very heavily bandaged right knee, and he's quite uncomfortable, and he half went to go and sit down in the middle of the park there, then he stopped himself, so I think he's a little bit concerned at something that's happened to his knee.
Yeah, he certainly had heavy strapping on in the warm-up before he pulled his socks up. You can only see the top of the white tape around his knee with his socks pulled up, but the strapping does go all the way down the outside of his right leg, so clearly something not quite right for Joe Linton, but he's on the ball now. He's heavy touch though. He's lost out to Shadi. The ball goes back with Norgard, who drops it back to Flecken, and that will be a concern for Eddie Howe, because Joe Linton, he's such a presence in this Newcastle team.
Yeah, and it's kind of important, like I was saying, no one's really making that area between the midfield and the forward line their own. So far at Newcastle, you'd expect it to be either Joe Linton or Bruno Guimaraes, but they've not really got into that area and created something from there. As I said before, everything seems to be going wide. It's down the wings, particularly the left hand side, but you need to go and ask questions in different areas of the field, and right now Joe Linton's standing in that kind of number 10 area, but hasn't really added a great deal going forward yet.
Well, 5 other Premier League games taking place this evening, and there's been a goal at St Mary's. Southampton have taken the lead against Crystal Palace. Onuachu on the score sheet for them. Manchester City leading by 1-0. Southampton leading by 1-0. All other games, including this one, still goalless. 25 minutes played here at St James's Park. It's been an entertaining 25 minutes. A little scrappy at times.
Yeah. It's settled into a pattern. It didn't have a pattern for 15-20 minutes, but it's settled into a little bit of pattern. Newcastle aren't really going at it with the verve that they had been before. I think Thomas Franks looked at the team, seen where the strengths and the weaknesses are in Newcastle, and he has stopped them getting down that left hand side a little bit more, and that's good coaching.
Isak trying to get onto a loose ball, which he does. He's got Murphy out to his right. Just a poor touch from Murphy, but Trippier able to get onto the loose ball and knock it back into Murphy's path. He drives forward and gets it to Isak, who tries to flick it, I think, up to himself, but somehow flicks it behind him to nobody, and Flecken plays it out now to Lewis Potter, who's had to go long under the pressure of Murphy, and Livramento wins that header, but then Norgard wins the header back, and it's gone all the way through to Dan Burn, and there are roars around St James's Park. The performance in the cup final, Eddie House said, was the best of the season, he thought, and that's the standards that he wants to see as much as possible, certainly on a consistent level, and perhaps tonight not quite reaching that, but they have had the best chances here at St James's Park so far, albeit we are still waiting for that opening goal. But this crowd want to see something special again. They do, but they're a very knowledgeable crowd, and I think for a minute or two there, the noise that we heard around this stadium was, right, come on lads, we know you've kind of dipped a little bit now, we want to get behind you, we want to lift the team a little bit, and that was certainly a part of that singing that was going on for the Newcastle fans, because they know it's gone a little bit quieter, particularly going forward. Ball over the top for Isak, who again has found himself out on this left-hand touchline, but his pass inside looking for Guimaraes was cleared by Collins, and it will be a Brentford throw, and it came off a Newcastle player on its way out, although Harvey Barnes didn't think that was the case, but
definitely did. I think we both agree with that. Yeah. Funny, there's been 2 or 3 bad touches by Isak as well, and I was chatting before the start of the game with the colleagues in 5 Live, and there was a question mark, would Newcastle be up for it after that fantastic win that they had, and I certainly thought there wouldn't be a problem, but just this little dip in the last 5 or 10 minutes, it's a lackadaisical attitude you're getting from one or two such as Isak. They need to lift it again. Remember, there's a lot at stake for the Newcastle players out there. There's Champions League to aim for this season, get a return to Europe's top table as Trippier flicks it in. Guimaraes wins it in between 2 Brentford defenders, flicks it into the box looking for Joe Linton, and now it is Barnes, his effort blocked. Tonali, and that effort is blocked. There are shouts from the crowd for a handball, but referee Peter Banks waves it away as Newcastle look to launch another attack with Livramento on the left hand side, and now the roar of St James's Park pushes Newcastle on. Joe Linton back out to Harvey Barnes, he looks to drive forward, but he's had to check back to Joe Linton, and he's gone all the way back to Fabian Schär just in the centre circle. Brentford's half, his long ball along the ground finds Isak perfectly, but a little tackle in there from Pinnock wins it back for Brentford, and now Wissa trying to launch an attack. His ball is long to Shade, he's got space ahead of him, he's kept it in on this left touchline, level now with Newcastle's penalty area. He's driving into the box onto his right foot, the shot blocked by Schär, and it will be another Brentford corner, and Thomas Frank below us clapping his hands in the air. He enjoyed that break from Brentford. They enjoyed it because that is the game plan, almost in one move, draw Newcastle on but use the pace in the wide areas, one ball out wide there, and Trippier just kept on retreating, and if you retreat so far that you're in your own box, you no longer can tackle, so sometimes you have to engage. In the end, the shot was taken away from Trippier. He didn't get any block on it at all. Fortunate for him, Schär was in the way. Lewis Potter standing over the corner kick, raises his left hand in the air. He went short last time, he goes long deep into the back post where Pinnock is, but the whistle has blown for
a free kick for Newcastle. I think the Brentford fans high up in the back of the Leeds stand thought that maybe that was a penalty he was pointing for. I heard a roar, but it is a free kick for Newcastle right on the penalty spot.
Yeah, they certainly thought that was case. By the way, we've said a little replay here of the suggested handball by Brentford in the box. Absolutely no chance of that. A, the hands were down by the side. B, didn't hit his hand, hit his shoulder. So you're not going to get a penalty for that. But you're right there, the referee saw the block in the goalkeeper there. Pope was wanting to come for it, which he likes to do. And the corners so far from Brentford, they've got into good situations and got those corner kicks, haven't looked particularly dangerous from them.
Wissa coming deep, getting on the ball, just having to retreat back into his own half under pressure from Tonali. He tries to get away from him, but the Italian does really well, and Tonali wins possession for Newcastle. Harvey Barnes now on the left hand side facing up Vandenberg, gets the cross in. There's Joe Linton. That header is going to be safely plucked out of the air by Flecken. The header was off the top of Joe Linton's head, high and easy for Flecken to grasp.
There's a little chance there because Mbeumo just sprinted away when Flecken got the ball, and it was 1-on-1, pure pace between him and Dan Burn, but the ball didn't arrive. It wasn't a good enough pass from the goalkeeper. Not that you should complain, it's a 70-yard pass. He's trying to play it on his toe.
That's a loose one from Yarmouk, and Guimaraes picks it up, knocks it out to Barnes. Back with Guimaraes, edge of the penalty area, cuts it inside to Joe Linton, pops it back to Guimaraes, and now it's Barnes, and that looked like it was going for all the world into the top left hand corner, but wide it goes, and Harvey Barnes, a rue smile from him, because that was a great effort.
It was, and we've seen Harvey Barnes do that so many times before. He loves that position, and he expected that net to ripple. He's tried to get a little bit of curl on it. The keeper is well beaten. Had he been on target, there is not a hope that Flecken would have got near it. However, it was just about a foot wide.
A great effort from Harvey Barnes. Eddie Howe down below us, out and hands on his hips, just trying to get a little bit more energy into his team as Shada flicks on to Wissa. He knocks it over his own head, but Trippier clears long, and Pinnock's able to just knock it down to Lewis Potter, and Lewis Potter almost went for the crossfield ball to Mbeumo, but decided not to and just played it back to Collins, who's got Vandenberg just outside him. Back with Collins now, and Brentford trying to build from the back or draw Newcastle out to give themselves an opportunity to play to these four players who are all standing in forward areas, and now they may have an opportunity. It's Janelt. Wissa's dropped deep though, and he gets it just inside the centre circle. It's now with Pinnock, and Pinnock goes long looking for Shada. He's got Trippier for company and Fabian Schär, but it is Trippier with the sliding challenge that puts it out for a Brentford throw in, just level with the 18-yard line. Still goalless here at St James's Park. 32 minutes played, and Brentford with an opportunity with the throw in Newcastle's final third, as Shada prepares to send a long one in.
Well, everyone's expecting it because no one's going towards the ball.
He's got no choice. But yeah, he steps back now, and looks like he will throw this one in towards the penalty area, which he does, and it's flicked on. But there is Joe Linton to head it away, and Mbeumo now with a speculative effort from just outside the D, flies right over the crossbar of Nick Pope.
A bit wasted, that one, and those go in 1 in 1,000 times, volley behind you 25 yards out. Probably better to have brought that one down there, but once again getting into good positions. And you're right about that front four. You've got Shadi's wide one side and Mbeumo's wide the other side, and Yarmouk, when given any opportunity at all, will get up front with Wissa. There's an interesting one. I've hardly mentioned Wissa tonight at all.
He has dropped deep a few times, Wissa, hasn't he?
He just not got the ball that much, has he? And you expect a lot from him. His goal scoring record's great, but like many a striker, he just needs a chance, and so far he's not had a sniff.
Well, he has a high of 14 Premier League goals this season to his name. Johan Wissa enjoying a fantastic season, the first Brentford player to score 40 Premier League goals, so he doesn't need many opportunities, but as Pat says, he hasn't had one yet tonight, as Flecken takes the ball out of his penalty area, looking for options, looking long. At the moment, hasn't got one. He's still got the ball at his feet, and Lewis Potter now raises his arm, and that is where the ball goes, just on the halfway line. Lewis Potter all on his own though, a little bit isolated, the full back, and he's lost out, but Janelt able to clear things up, and now Pinnock again puts it back to Flecken, but Lewis Potter just no options there at all. Flecken again on the ball. This time Joe Linton puts pressure on him. He goes long, he finds Mbeumo, knocks it inside, and there's space now, or there was space until those extra long legs of Dan Burn came flying in, but Brentford still on the ball. Shadin now takes it into the penalty area, left hand side, goes inside, there's Wissa, there's the effort, off Tonali, falls to Mbeumo, and this one blocked by Livramento, and he gets on the end of it as well to stop it going out for the corner. It will be a throw into Brentford. And how quickly Brentford turned defence into attack. Yeah,
to be honest, I don't know why, but the idea of a cobra jumped into my mind there, because they just sit back with the ball at the back, but those 4 players are up there and they will strike so quickly when that ball is brought up there. I mean, the tactics are really quite unusual for the Premier League. They're doing another complicated thing where the strikers are coming off and the midfielders are stepping into their place, and it's confusing the Newcastle defence. It's really clever.
In comes the throw in, Dan Burn wins the header, Isak then flicks it on, he's nobody long though, and Lewis Potter able to just get in and knock it back to Flecken. Flecken now goes long, looking for the run. Shadow on the right hand side this time, gets on the end of it and tries to cross it in to Mbeumo, who's inside, but Mbeumo now gets on the ball, a loose one just inside the penalty area, he drops it outside. Collins is there, and Collins has got Vandenberg to Norgard back to the tall fullback, playing fullback tonight, Vandenberg, and he's got Mbeumo on this right hand side, and Brentford trying to build up this attack with Norgard and Collins just inside the Newcastle half. Now the ball from Vandenberg almost gets through to Mbeumo, but it falls kindly for Yarmouk, who's taken a sore one, but Harvey Barnes is scampering clear with the ball, and now a pass that just was almost perfect for Murphy, but just not quite for the winger, and Lewis Potter able to stop that Newcastle break, and Yarmouk back up on his feet, albeit gingerly, as Norgard looks for options inside the centre circle. He's got it from Lewis Potter on this left hand side, and now inside Yarmouk to Norgard to Pinnock.
Just so impressed by Brentford's tactics, the way they have begun to strangle this game. Newcastle are completely spooked by that front line of 4 and indeed sometimes 5 players up there, so they're scared to come out of their positions and get dragged right back.
The cross in from the right hand side, long, and nobody there for Brentford, and now Trippier able to get it clear with Murphy, but Norgard is there to put pressure on him, but Guimaraes then fouled by Yarmouk. The free kick is taken very quickly straight to Janelt.
They're spooked. Newcastle are absolutely spooked. They know they're tactically losing this game at the moment, and you can see the Brentford players A, controlling large parts of the game, but B, each time that they get the ball, they know they've got 4 options ahead of them. It really is. I'm talking to you here, Lewis Potter on the left hand side is in acres of space, and he can get it any time he wants. Eddie Howe's got a bit of a job here. I think he might have to adapt.
So Lewis Potter now on the ball in that left hand side, drops it back to Pinnock, still goalless. There hasn't been a goalless first half at St James's Park in the Premier League this season. 38 minutes, we may be heading towards that unless something changes drastically in this first half, as Norgard plays it back to Collins, the deepest outfield player for Brentford. Now with Mbeumo, flicks it inside, gets it back, Mbeumo, and again from Janelt, and Mbeumo driving forward, he goes over, he looks towards the referee, says he was tripped by Tonali, nothing given, and now Tonali gets on the ball inside the Brentford half. Newcastle looking to get a little spell of possession back again. They dominated those early 10 15 minutes or so, but since then Brentford, like Pat says, have been tactically superior and have asked questions of this Newcastle team.
They're so dull and predictable at the moment, Newcastle. I have to say it. I mean, after a really intriguing start and lively start and sharp start, but other than Livramento, who's getting up the left hand side a bit, the rest of it has gone so predictable, and to be honest, Brentford look really comfortable. Man, that can change in a millisecond. I mean, get to the ball to Isak in the right position and you might be okay. but at the moment it's certainly Brentford are the better side at the moment.
Yeah, and that pass out to Barnes didn't reach him, but Isak comes in behind and does pick up the ball, and the ball through to Livramento. Did it take a touch? It did. It will be a Newcastle corner, the first one. That gets the crowd and the Gallowgate end lively again.
It does, and I think they want that pitch to be sloped to the left hand side, because the only danger is coming from there, and this time Livramento gets actually to the byline. He could have got a cross in there, but he stopped and thought, no, we'll have the corner instead. I'm just wondering if he might have pulled up just slightly there. We shall keep an eye on that though. But again, left hand side, Livramento flying forward. It's like having an extra player in the field. He's left back, he's left midfield, and he's left winger as well.
He has been very lively this evening so far. It's Kieran Trippier stands over the corner kick, raises his left hand. The referee's whistle goes, in it goes, and Flecken with a punch to it to Mbeumo, and Mbeumo then knocks it clear, but there's nobody up for Brentford, so Livramento just plays it back to Trippier, and then up the line to Tonali with the cross into the box. Everybody's still up there, but Janelt gets his head on it, and now this could be danger for Newcastle. Wissa driving forward. He's had to check his run a little. Good feet from Wissa, and Jacob Murphy takes him down. Free kick to Brentford on the halfway line.
Yeah, I think Jacob Murphy will say, I didn't mean that. I tell you what, it's a good free kick to take, because they were on the break there. Vissa's got on the ball. If they could have just got it out of his feet and flying forward there was half a field completely free to run up.
Lewis Potter driving forward from the free kick, but Trippier with a really good tackle to stop him in his tracks, and now Lewis Potter fouls Trippier. Free kick to Newcastle. Another couple of goals gone in the Premier League. Ipswich have taken the lead at Bournemouth. Nathan Broadhead with that goal there, and a second goal for Manchester City against Leicester. Marmouche on the score sheet. Still goalless here at St James's Park as we head into the final 3 minutes before the half-time break. Harvey Barnes, left hand side, just level with the edge off the penalty area. He's got Joe Linton outside him, and Joe Linton drops it back to Barnes. Barnes inside to Guimaraes, who's got Scher just square. Scher shouts of shoot. This time he does shoot. It's taken a deflection off Isak, I think, and it's gone wide. I'm not sure Scher's shot was heading in anyway, but the flick from Isak could have gone anywhere.
You know, Scher's perfectly capable of scoring from real distance there. I agree with you. I don't think he caught it quite well enough, but Isak, he knows what he's doing. He's trying to redirect the ball, just too much on it there, and it hit him in the midriff. So not the easiest place to control the ball, but a little bit of hope there. But once again, it was all come down the left hand side. But you look at the Newcastle players as a lack of zip. And just a moment ago, Trippier got the ball in the right back position. He looked up and he thought, I've nothing to hit. There's no one ahead of me. That is never the case with Brentford.
Brentford certainly plenty of options up front when they do win it, as Norgard has done now, but Tonali wins it back for Newcastle and does well to get the ball out to Bruno Guimaraes under some attention, and Guimaraes now driving forward, plays the ball inside Lewis Potter, but again he reads it so well, but then after reading it so well, gives it away under pressure from Joe Linton. Trippier on the halfway line picks it up. Guimaraes ahead of him. Guimaraes to Tonali right hand side to Murphy, who's got Lewis Potter to beat. He plays it inside though. He thought he might get the return ball from Guimaraes. Might have been an option, but Guimaraes held on to it and went square to Tonali inside. Byrne now through to Joe Linton, holds off the challenge and plays it wide to Livramento. This is better from Newcastle. Isak out on that left hand touchline. Back it goes to Dan Byrne. Again he plays it across to Scher. Every player in and around that Brentford penalty areas. Joe Linton looks for options ahead of him. He's got Dan Byrne alongside him, and Isak again wide on the left. He's twisting, turning, coming more central, but nothing available to him. So back to Byrne, and his pass out to Livramento is short, and Vandenberg gets it away.
It's just when you look at Newcastle and they get the ball in the final third and Brentford are set up there, you think, well, who's got that clever pass? Who's going to see that something special? And you're thinking Isak's the only one, but he's not on the ball. It's going to be somebody deeper than that. I mean, Guimaraes, is he going to do it for you? Well, he's capable, but he's not looked like he's going to play that really clever ball today, and they need something slightly different in that position. I just wonder at some point, I know he's a youngster, but I'm a big fan of Lewis Miley. He might be a better option in that sort of situation.
Yeah, Newcastle just bit too many touches, not quite the intensity and sharpness as we know they can play with. They've not really caused Brentford too many problems since that header inside the opening 5 minutes or so from Alexander Isak just whistled past Flecken's post as we head towards the 45-minute mark. But that is a misjudgment from Pinnock. Isak is through, edge of the penalty area, great feet from Isak, he's still got it, but he flicks it over, it's headed in, but I think the flag will be up. Yes, it is. Isak held on to it perhaps just a little too long. He flicked it over the goalkeeper and Harvey Barnes was there to head it into the back of the net, but the flag went up very quickly. This will be checked as the board goes up for one additional minute here at St James's Park.
He just couldn't get the ball down completely under control. Look, he gets away 1-on-1, but the ball wouldn't come down for him, so he has to go on a dribble. The first time he dribbles twice round a player, but eventually the keeper's closed him down, so he does the right thing. He tries to find his teammate, who is Harvey Barnes there, and Harvey Barnes saying, why didn't you play it earlier? Well, he couldn't quite get the ball at his feet. It's one of those ones where it's a wee bit closer than you think. I thought it was obviously offside, but it's a bit closer than you think. It may... Oh wow, it's close.
It is close. The lines have just come up, and it is Harvey Barnes. The length of his foot, I think, was all it was in the end.
That's very, very close indeed. But I mean, Isak's skill, let's not forget, his skill there was absolutely brilliant to get the ball and take it around. Well, it's good to play the same player twice there, but that was a great opportunity. He just couldn't get it quite under control. It wouldn't run for him the way he wanted it to run for him.
That's been a little bit of the story of Newcastle's night tonight. Still goalless. We're into this final additional minute of added time as Trippier crosses it in. It's headed clear though. Livramento just tries to get anything on it to head it back towards the penalty area and to the danger area, but Newcastle now get it under control. Trippier on the halfway line, back to Scher, who drops it back to his goalkeeper, and Brentford now trying to put pressure on Newcastle at the back. Dan Burn got Yarmouk's attention, but he gets it clear. Lovely back heel from Joe Linton and a touch inside from Livramento to Guimaraes, and Guimaraes with Murphy on the right hand side. He's got space. Lewis Potter now tries to close him down. Cross comes in, Isak! And there it is! The opening goal in front of the Gallowgate end from Alexander Isak. What a season he is having, his 20th Premier League goal. And he has broken the deadlock. We thought we might be heading towards a first goalless first half of the season here at St James's Park, but Alexander Isak on the stroke of half time just prods the home side ahead, Pat Nevin.
They just had the worst period of the game, Newcastle. They couldn't get forward. Only chances you thought were coming from the left hand side, and the first cross in from Trippier, the very first cross in that he puts in there, I think there's a slip in the midfield, in the centre backs there when the balls come in there. Comes to Isak once again. He doesn't actually look as if he's got his feet completely right, but when it comes to him, all he has to do is make sure the ball goes towards the goal, and I'm correct there, centre back should be able to clear it. He's just slipped right over on his back, and it gives an easy tap in. And by the way, we've just seen another replay. That's a far better finish than I thought it was, but it does take a deflection, and it's not a centre back, is it?
It's not. It's Brian Mbeumo who was trying to get himself back into the position to deny Isak, but he did. He slipped right at the crucial moment, and Isak's deft little touch towards goal came off the Brentford forward and in past Flecken, and that is the goal that separates the two sides at the break. It's not been a game of great intensity or great skill level at times, Pat, but it's been end to end, it's been entertaining.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, really, it's Newcastle who've taken the lead.
It is surprising at the end of this half, because they were looking slightly lumping in the midfield. Newcastle, not very creative, nothing coming from that area. Did say to you all the way through it, if it's going to come from wide. But I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be left, it was going to be anywhere, but it was the right hand side. Trippier puts it in, and Mbeumo, who didn't want to track back to chase Livramento all day long, and he's had to do that for most of the time. Now we know why he doesn't want to track back, because when he gets there, he fell at the crucial moment, and not only did he fall, the deflection off of him when Isak hit it was what took it past Flecken in the end. 1-0 to Newcastle. I think they're a wee bit lucky.
Well, Alexander Isak, that's his 10th Premier League game at home. He has 10 away. He joins a list of Alan Shearer and Andy Cole as the only Newcastle players to score 10, both home and away in a single Premier League season, and it is him that has given Newcastle the lead here at St James's Park. We will be back for the second half shortly, but we can now join 5 Live for the remainder of the first half in the Merseyside derby, where it is goalless between Liverpool and Everton, in the company of John Murray and Stephen Warnock.
Yes, they are, and for the first time this might be a win for Ipswich in the league in 2025. Nathan Broadhead's got the goal, his first for the Welshman in the Premier League, a very cool finish as well. They've settled nicely into this game, Kieran McKenna's team, and Bournemouth just not cutting through with their usual menace. Bournemouth 0, Ipswich 1.
No, Ipswich winning, and with even greater surprise in the voice, Southampton winning. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Southampton 1, Crystal Palace 0. The home side ahead and trying to barricade the door with relegation looming. The game's only goals come from Paul Onuachu, who towered home a header from a diagonal from Fernandes. Henderson got a hand to it, but was too strong for the England goalkeeper. John-Philip Mateta has been Palace's best outlet, smashing the crossbar with one and forcing a decent save from Ramsdale with the other. Otherwise, pretty bland, John. Southampton 1, Palace 0.
One match in the Championship tonight. Derby, Preston, after we had an excellent afternoon at Deepdale on Sunday. What's happening tonight, Sarah Mulkerrins?
Goalless at the break, John. A poor first half, really. Osmayachi should have done better for Preston. Pounced on a poor back pass, drove it low though into the hands of the keeper. One chance the other end. Arna's flicked effort across the face of goal. And remember, a win for Derby tonight would move them out of the relegation zone, but the two teams have offered very little. It's Derby 0, Preston 0.
To Meadow Lane in a moment, but Liverpool on the attack. It's 0-0 here at Anfield. All of that spring daylight has finally gone now. We can see the lights illuminating the name of the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand right opposite us, shining out brightly in red. And Liverpool with McAllister, who is in danger of losing possession. In fact, he's fouled. I thought Van Dijk picked that ball up before the free kick had been given there. But it is a free kick to Liverpool. I'm not sure you can do that.
No, he had already signalled for the foul. Yeah, he had, John.
Hear the whistle.
Yeah, but Liverpool are so slow in what they're doing. The midfield of Liverpool in McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch have been average at best. They're so laboured on the ball, it's got to be quicker. There's a lack of ideas, a lack of understanding of what they're trying to do at the moment, and everything is so central for Liverpool. It's so easy to defend for Everton. There's another poor ball again, capitalised on by Everton.
Yeah, the big talking point is whether Tarkowski should have been sent off. Let Everton break forward again. They are bright here. Alcaraz forward to Doucouré, and now into the box with Harrison, but Van Dijk comes across, gets a touch on it, back onto Harrison, and then Harrison goes down. Might have been hands on the back. Ball's out of play. Throw-in only given to Liverpool. Thought that might have been a free kick too for Everton this time.
He looks shattered, Van Dijk. He really does. He can't get across. I've never seen him look like that. And this is poor from Liverpool though.
Here's Curtis Jones, still 0-0. Salah running at Mykolenko, but Mykolenko comes across and blocks it behind for a corner from the right. Yeah, Liverpool, we know what happened, didn't we, in Paris that night. Even though Liverpool won it, you know, that was not the best performance from Liverpool by any means. Then came back, had that for a large part less than convincing win against Southampton, then the second leg against PSG, then the disappointment in the Carabao Cup final, and now here tonight also not firing on all cylinders. But it is still 0-0, and they still have that big lead at the top of the table. Corner from the right, Liverpool's fourth corner of the first half, to be delivered, outswinger, right foot, headed away though by Tarkowski. Got up commandingly, headed it away, blue shirts above red. In it comes again into the Everton box, taken down by Alcaraz, who's able to take it down and clear it away. Bounces off Beto. Beto should have scored for Everton, hit the post, but then Gravenberch drives a pass forward straight back to Beto, who was able to play it back to the edge of the box. Jota was almost onto that. Tarkowski just about dealt with it. He was able to get his feet sorted out, just take a step back and allow the ball to run into his body and clear it away, but Jota was almost in there. That's not Beto's speciality, passing back to his goalkeeper as it's flicked forward by Doucouré and then cleared out of play by Konate for a throw-in to Everton down the right. Half-time now at Brighton. James Gregg.
Brighton 0, Villa 0. Villa have been the better side, more chances as well. Rashford so impressive down the left and through the middle as well, been cutting inside, as is Ramsey, who's doing much of the same. lots of tests for Mark Verbruggen to think about, but it's either, it's been a fairly end-to-end affair. Mitoma, Adrigra, both trying to really give the home side some oomph. It's worked in patches, but the only real test for Martinez in the Villa net is that free kick from Ayari that had him beaten but struck the post. Brighton 0, Villa 0 at half-time.
Everton in the Liverpool box. Doucouré trying to find a way through. Garner drives it across, but straight into Robertson. The two of them come together, and there's a little bit of a bouncing of bodies between Garner and Robertson. Just a tiny little bit of afters, and Sam Barrett, the referee, comes across and speaks to Garner. Corner Everton, their first. Harrison waiting to take this in front of the Kop. 5 minutes of the first half to go. 5 Live on BBC Sounds, live from Anfield. Harrison, referee, is just still speaking to McAllister and Alcaraz. Alcaraz is kind of hanging his head. The two Argentines together.
Well, what's interesting here is look at the position of Branthwaite and Tarkowski, the two best headers of the ball, and then they've crowded around the goalkeeper, Everton.
Yeah, and the two of them make the run, Tarkowski and Branthwaite. In comes the corner from Harrison to the back post, headed across by Alcaraz, but it was sort of loopy header. Easy catch for Keller. Keller is able to underarm it out to Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai stabs it past Harrison. Luis Diaz had to wait for it to come, and therefore there were two Everton players on him, but he does well. Luis Diaz comes out with the ball, runs at the packed Everton defence into the D, then turns, ball to Salah, inside the box on the right, left-footed cross, bounces down, hits Branthwaite, and is cleared away by Everton out of play.
Oh, what was O'Brien doing there? He must have got a shout, because he just left it and it hit the shin of Branthwaite and just dropped down, and the Everton players were able to clear it. But Liverpool looked leggy going forward, so quick on the counter-attack usually. Credit to Everton, they were back in quick speed, making sure that they got back into positions, nullified that threat.
We will go to Meadow Lane in a moment, but Liverpool in possession inside the Everton half. Still goalless here. Certainly big debate going on wherever Everton and Liverpool fans are on whether Tarkowski should have been sent off round about the 11th, 12th minute, I think it was, when he put the challenge in on McAllister, just on the edge of the Everton penalty area. Only a yellow card. Liverpool continue to attack with Salah. Here's Gravenberch. Gravenberch swirls one in. It's gone all the way to the back post. It hits Harrison, bounces down, and then Robertson's shot on the turn gets that all wrong and slices it up wide, high, behind, into the Liverpool fans. That's the biggest moment of panic in the Everton penalty area.
Yeah, it was an incredible ball in from Gravenberch as he swung it into the area. It was so difficult to deal with, and Tarkowski just gets a toe end on it. He takes it away from Diogo Jota. Outstanding defending. But then as Robertson gets the ball, he turns, he swivels, he shoots. But that was the lack of composure, and that sums up Liverpool's performance in this first half so far.
Liverpool 0, Everton 0. And to prove that everything comes to those who wait, here's Naz Premji at Meadow Lane.
Notts County 0, MK Dons 0. Home side on top here, John. Couple of chances for David McGoldrick. The visitors looking to catch County on the break, but nothing of note from them so far. Notts County 0, MK Dons 0.
Half time here, just a couple of minutes away. David Moyes just moving from foot to foot on the side of the pitch. Never won at Anfield as a manager. He's been trying since 2002. Lost all 7 visits with West Ham. He's lost his last 9 matches here as a manager. But they're very much in this, Everton, and this performance tonight has typified what we've seen from Everton so far under David Moyes' second coming as their manager. There's plenty of spirit, and as I've said before, I think I said it when I was at Selhurst Park watching them win there, it's almost, if ever there was a back four designed for David Moyes, this is it. Here's Tarkowski playing the ball back under pressure from Jota to Pickford. Pickford clears as Jota closes him down. Now Jones back to Gravenberch, half-time approaching.
Too slow, far too slow from Gravenberch. I mean, you can tell he's lacking confidence here.
Yeah, he was brilliant for the first 2/3 of the season. Gravenberch is one of Liverpool's player of the season. Salah, ball into the penalty area, that's played back. Then the shot from Gravenberch is deflected off Tarkowski. Unfortunately for Everton, deflected straight at where Pickford was standing, and he was able to catch the ball just above his left shoulder.
Yeah, nice little layoff from Curtis Jones. I don't think it was going in. I think it would have been dragged wide from Gravenberch. It wasn't the greatest of strikes from him, but it's just so slow in that midfield area from Liverpool. Everton can allowed to get back, allowed to get into shape, be comfortable.
Long one through the middle, but it comes off the head of Doucouré and bounces all the way through to Kelleher. Liverpool 0, Everton 0.
There's been an interesting physical battle in this game, and Everton have been rough with the way that they've gone about this game, and they've been physical with the Liverpool players. Liverpool players haven't liked it at all. If I was in the Everton changing room, I'd be made up.
4 minutes of added time. Robertson playing the ball into the legs of Harrison, and it bounces straight through and behind for a Liverpool corner, their 5th of the first half. So chance here again with the set piece, but Everton, they know their roles here, don't they? And see Van Dijk just arriving near the penalty spot, Konate as well. Curtis Jones is just behind them. So here is the delivery from the left-hand side. McAllister, Pickford comes, gets a good left-fisted punch on that. Out to Idrissa Gueye, and then he nods it down. Alcaraz takes it forward, but the pass bounces back from Beto to Alcaraz, who's able to find the ball behind Harrison here, 25 yards out. Harrison then curls it in. Alcaraz challenging. Beto swings a leg at it, but it was being caught, the ball, by Kelleher, and the swing from Beto just made contact with the Liverpool goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, where does that all come from? A desire on the edge of the penalty box to win the ball. Idrissa Gueye goes into a challenge with Gravenberch, and Gravenberch doesn't fancy it at all. He loses it second best, and then Everton break and they dominate in the way that they go forward. Too strong for Liverpool at the moment in terms of physicality. What they're lacking in quality, they're making up for on the other side of the game.
So half-time in those other Premier League matches tonight. Bournemouth 0, Ipswich 1, Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 2, Leicester 0, Newcastle 1, Brentford 0, Southampton 1, Crystal Palace 0, and we'll have more on all of those at half-time. As Everton, with
too soft again.
Doucouré wins it against Luis Diaz. Long pass forward for Beto. It's Beto against Konate this time. He's all on his own, Beto. He's got support now. Alcaraz arriving, shoots, it's deflected, but up and well over the top of the crossbar, drops down behind the Liverpool goal. But it is a corner to Everton in added time.
Yeah, too busy moaning about the free kick on Luis Diaz. It's not a free kick, it's just too soft, too weak. Doesn't want to hold the ball, want to hold the player off. He's waiting for the tiniest little bit of contact and then wanting to go to ground. Everton don't care, they spin that ball in behind, a simple straight ball in behind to Beto as well, and it's caused Van Dijk and Konate so many problems.
Yes, I think in the home sections there are definitely jitters. Harrison with the corner for Everton at the Kop end. A high, deep one towards the back post, looking for Branthwaite. It's headed out by Liverpool, though. Alcaraz takes it down. Alcaraz then back to Idrissa Gueye. He was fouled by Jota, who complains about it.
Welcome back to St James's Park, where the teams are back out on the pitch for this second half. Newcastle leading by 1-0 thanks to that Alexander Isak goal right on the half-time whistle. Jacob Murphy with the ball in, and Brian Mbeumo just slipping at the crucial moment. Isak able to get his toe in the end of it, and it's been a half that perhaps Brentford will feel like they should have got a little bit more out of Pat Nevin.
I would agree with you completely. I think they'll be very disappointed. They weren't on terms, because they should be on terms. They had plenty of the ball from 10-15 minutes on. They were getting themselves in good positions, get lots of corner kicks. Weren't doing the best with them. Final ball hasn't been brilliant. Tactically they've looked the superior side, but in the end you need someone to put the ball in the back of the net, and there's not many better than Isak at the moment, and he could have had two right at the death, only got one.
He did. It is the one goal that separates the teams as Brentford get us back underway, playing from left to right in the second half towards the Gallowgate end and trying to go straight on the attack, but that's headed out by Jan Elton. It will be a Newcastle throw in their defensive half. So let's take a quick run through the teams. No changes at the break, so Newcastle remain with the starting 11 that started that special day at Wembley against Liverpool in their last match. Pope in goal, Livramento, Burns, Scher and Trippier in a back four. Tonali and Guimaraes with Joe Linton just ahead of them in the midfield, with Barnes on the left, Murphy on the right, and the goal scorer Alexander Isak leading the line. For Brentford, Flecken in goal. They have a back four of Lewis Potter on the left, Pinnock and Collins in the middle, and Vandenberg on the right hand side. Norgard and Janelt with Yarmouk ahead of them in the midfield. Shada on the left, and Mbeumo on the right, and Wissa through the middle as Newcastle drive forward with Joe Linton, and Isak able to pick up a loose ball. Harvey Barnes under pressure flicks the ball through. It is cleared as far as Barnes on the edge of the box, but his shot goes wide. An opportunity for Newcastle right at the start of the second half.
Yeah, good break from that midfield area once again, this time by Joe Linton. And as I say that, he's down rubbing that knee of his again. He's not happy with it, but he got to Barnes and seemed to have lost it 2 or 3 times, but he kept on fighting for it. And when he had the shot, he just dragged it a little bit, couldn't get the power on it and couldn't get the direction on it, and didn't trouble Flecken. Well, let's hope that's a sign of things to come for the second half.
Indeed, let's hope so. This game is a game that has given goals over recent times. The previous 7 Premier League games have managed 30 goals, which is an average of 4.3 a game, Pat. If it goes that way, we'll be in for a huge second half, because just the 1 goal in this one so far from Isak, as the ball is given away to Shada. He can't quite get it under control, but it comes off Trippier for a Brentford throw on the left hand side, and Shada goes back to Pinnock, looking for options ahead of him. He plays it forward, looking for the run of Yarmouk, but Newcastle able to win back possession. And once again, as in the first half, the ball changing hands very frequently and quickly in that midfield.
It is. I'm just having a look at Newcastle. Just adapted it ever so slightly. You know, the 2 that are sitting is Tonali and Guimaraes again, but I'm watching Joe Linton in that area I was talking about, the 10 area. Joe Linton looks to me as if he's pushed right on into that a little bit more than he did in the first half. It was like a 4-3-3, closer to a 4-3-3 in the first half. Now 4-2-3-1 with Joe Linton a little bit further forward.
Well, it is Brentford on the attack. Kevin Shada will go for the long throw from the left hand side, level with the penalty area, and it comes high into the night sky and not enough distance on it. Guimaraes gets it away, but Brentford win it back. Norgard looking to try and prod it back to the edge of the area, but Joe Linton was there. Now Livramento drives forward, plays it up to Harvey Barnes over the halfway line, driving towards the penalty area, cuts inside onto his right foot, finds Isak inside the penalty area, but that's brilliant tracking back from Shada, and he goes down under pressure from Isak, and Brentford win a free kick inside their own penalty area. Brilliant ball from Harvey Barnes, but great defending from Shada.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. He's flown up that left hand side there, Barnes. I mean, he goes inside and he doesn't think about playing it in front of Isak. Players don't do that. They play with Isak, they just fire at him as if to say, you can deal with that. And 90% of the time he can deal with it. Unfortunately for him, this time he didn't deal with it very well. First touch wasn't perfect. I mean, it wasn't in front of him, it was behind him slightly, but because he's that so special on the ball, you'd expect him to get it out in one touch, have a shot. On this occasion, wasn't quite able to do that.
And Mbeumo flicks on the long goal kick from Flecken, but Byrne is able to get on the end of it. He's got nowhere to go though than head it out for a Brentford throw-in on the right hand touchline, up in the Newcastle final third. And Mbeumo with the ball in his hands, but he will drop it to Shada, who will get another long throw. Pat,
he didn't do well last one, did he?
He'll be looking to do better than the last one.
Yeah, I think it slipped out of his hands in the last one. He'll be wanting to rub that ball down. There's a little bit of a sheen on it at the moment, with a tiny bit of wetness from the half-time showering
from the sprinklers as it goes in. Byrne wins the header and Livramento flicks it clear, because there's not been a cloud in the sky today on this beautiful spring day in Newcastle. It is a bit chilly now though in this clear night, as Lewis Potter picks up the ball in his half and he goes long looking for the run of Mbeumo. Mbeumo against Byrne, and Byrne wins it, but it's just arrived at the feet of Livramento. I thought Mbeumo was going to get on the end of it, but Livramento trying to run clear. He does really well and knocked into touch by Mbeumo. It'll be a throw in for Livramento.
What about that reaction from those fans? That was brilliant by Livramento under massive amounts of pressure. You'd expect him just to launch it out, give away a corner kick or something. Even with 2 players around him, he thinks, no, I believe in myself, I know I'm right beside my own goal, but I can win this, I can hold it, and I can get something out of it. And he has done. There's a very knowing, appreciative applause there for that young man.
Yeah, he's been a key player for Newcastle this season, just missed one Premier League game, and that was through illness. Been an ever-present for Eddie Howe this season, and he's played a couple of different positions on the right and now on the left, filling in that vacant left back slot, and he's been very influential tonight as well, as Isak skips away from the challenge, finds Joe Linton inside the penalty area, but a foot comes in from Collins, wins possession back for Brentford. Yarmouk out to Mbeumo on the right hand side, drops
just
it
not
back.
sure about Joe. Oh well, as I've gone halfway through that sentence, he's gone down. Not sure about Joe Linton, and I haven't been since the first 10 minutes. He's not looked to me as if had his normal power. Every time he's tried to explode with his pace, he's kind of then slowed down a bit, and you can see that as a player. He's trying to last, he's trying to get through it, but he's a distance off being right, and I think they should probably take him off now just for his own safety. And he's actually not helping the team a great deal.
He's got a heavy strapping on the right leg. We could see it during the warm-up before he'd pulled his socks up. It goes all the way down the outside of his right knee and lower half of his right leg, and that is the leg that's getting attention now. I'm not sure that magic spray is going to do the job, Pat, because he has looked like he's been struggling, but there doesn't seem to be any movement on the Newcastle bench that we can see just below us.
I mean, they've got a perfect replacement in Lewis Miley. There are other options you can make. You can change your team around a little bit, but if Longstaff's an obvious one as well, you get a little bit of power in there. At this point in time, you're 1-0 up. You don't need to take chances and push it forward too much, so that must be a temptation as well. So Willock, Longstaff, Miley, any one of them could come on.
Yeah, a little thumbs up from Eddie Howe there. I'm not sure who that was towards, but Joe Linton certainly looks like he wants to continue, and he doesn't seem to be going anywhere, just waiting to come back on. So it looks like he will be back out, Pat.
Yeah, it will be, but you're taking a chance there. If a players sometimes think they know best, and they don't. And if I can see from here after 10-15 minutes that he's not been right, and he's felt it a few times, it might feel okay again just now. But what if it really goes badly? If it's some real problem within his knee that's not been correctly diagnosed? We shall see.
Well, Newcastle giving the ball back to Brentford after they put it out for Joe Linton to get treatment, and Brentford winning a throw in on the far side, level with the penalty area. I think we might see another Kevin Shaddy long throw here, Pat. No, we don't. He drops it back to Janelt, and now he gets it back left hand side, keeps possession despite attentions from Murphy. In the ball goes, and Pope tries to grab it, drops it, and is able to scramble it clear under attention from Wissa, and now Trippier moves it up the line, but it's won back by Lewis Potter, and now it's Wissa left hand side, and that's right across the face of goal, but not in the vicinity of any Brentford player at all.
Yeah, Pope was quite surprising. It's not like him to be so uncertain. The ball was played in there. It didn't look to me as if it was a particularly dangerous one. He was stretching it in near post, and instead of catching it, he palmed it down, but palmed it too far. Looked a little bit jittery there, which is very, very unlikely.
There's been a lot of conversations about the Newcastle goalkeeping situation. Rumours that James Trafford is very much on their target.
To be honest, Pope's been brilliant. I have to say, I think Dubravka, when he's stepped in, he's hardly put a foot wrong as well.
Yeah, two good options for Eddie Howe at the moment. In fact, they have 5 goalkeepers on their books here at Newcastle, but a couple of them out of contract. Long ball, Wissa breaking free, gets a little nudge from Tonali, and that just puts him off his stride, and Pope able to grasp the ball right on the edge of his penalty area. Clever play from the experienced Italian midfielder, as Newcastle now try to turn that into attack, and Isak's got Barnes left hand side of the penalty area, driving in onto that right foot. He tries to let fly, doesn't quite catch it. It's cleared, but only as far as Tonali, who tries to move it out to Livramento, but it wasn't an accurate enough pass, and it's out for a Brentford throw.
I'm a great admirer of Harvey Barnes as a player, but I would say that's 3 times in a row that he's cut inside and tried the same shot, and he's not quite got it right. And you try that shot when it's on, or the possibility is on, he seems to have only one thing in his mind just now, and I understand it, because if you know Anthony Gordon's sitting there waiting, just about to walk in you've got to do something special to keep your position there, and I think he's just desperate to score a goal and hope that he can hang on to that position.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon serving that final match of that 3-match suspension, although he came back from international duty with a bruised hip, which is still under assessment, but the expectation is that he should be back fit and available for Eddie Howe at the weekend. But Guimaraes now trying to launch an attack. He's found Joe Linton, centre circle, looking for an option. He's got it from Murphy. Murphy gets a push in the back, and that will be a free kick to Newcastle, and Murphy has stayed down. No, he gets up now.
I think he'll be fine.
Didn't look like there was much in it.
He get pushed, he got up, and then he flopped over again, almost like a goalkeeper does when they catch the ball late in the game. Maybe just a little bit of tiredness. Now, he's not had the best game that I've ever seen him having. Jacob Murphy is a very, very good player, but so far in the game it's not been the sharpest.
Free kick into Isak, right hand side. It's taken a touch. It will be a Newcastle corner. Combination of Lewis Potter and Wissa knocking that one out of play. And Jacob Murphy, he has been, like you say, he's had such an influential season. 12 goal involvements in 25 Premier League appearances this season. He's been an outlet for them. I
agree, it's come together for him this season, but it's been a quiet one. But I've watched games from him, particularly here where he's had 30 minutes and you think you're just not at it, you're miles away, you've no confidence, something good happens and suddenly he's a different player.
Well, he has got the assist tonight for Alexander Isak for that goal, and now it's Murphy going for the shot, curled it over the top of the bar. Bit of a speculative effort that from all of 20 plus yards, but yeah, he does have the assist. Isak with the opening goal right on the stroke of half time, and that is the only goal so far between these two teams. Brentford, they have caused problems, Pat, but they've not really tested Pope.
Yeah, I do think they had a really good period in that sort of second part of the first half. Again, start of the second half, it's been quite quiet for them. They get into decent positions for a final ball, but it's been nowhere near good enough. Or may I say, Newcastle have defended well. They've got plenty of players back. Nothing wrong with the work rate defensively in Newcastle. Obviously, two centre backs have been good, but on top of that, they've got two sitting midfielders. They've got themselves back into very good positions as well. So, that's one of the big things as well. You've got to be good in that final third, but you also got to get by very good defenders as well, and they've not been able to do that yet.
Yeah, Brentford just making a change here in the midfield. Mikael Damsgaard is coming on for Vitaly Janelt. Damsgaard, who wasn't in the Denmark squad for the international period, so he's had a little bit of a break. He comes on now into that midfield, and it looks like he's going to take the place that Yarmouk was taking, just in behind, stroke alongside Wissa.
Yeah, he's
in
just
that forward
10.
area.
No, he's a 10, absolutely. Just
Ball
say that.
looking for Isak, but flecking out to get there ahead of him and knock it out for a Newcastle throw in.
He's a delightful player to watch, Damsgaard. I adore watching him, but he needs a little bit of space. He certainly needs options ahead of him, but he's as capable as anyone of slipping and sliding those forwards that are ahead of him, and he's a very talented 10.
Yeah, just 24 years old, Mikael Damsgaard, but it feels like he's been playing for a long time. Brentford just trying to work something, and the ball goes out of play. They were looking for the corner, but it must come off a Brentford player because goal kick awarded.
You look at Damsgaard and players like Eriksson in his prime, etc. Reminds you of that sort of player. He's an elegance on the ball, seems to create space and time very, very well. Not always the most dynamic player in a kind of Premier League mould, but sometimes that's not exactly what you need.
Long it goes, headed clear, and it falls back to the feet of Ethan Pinnock, who's got Collins alongside him. Brentford shooting towards this Gallowgate end, trying to get themselves back level in this game. And Mbeumo down the line to Vandenberg, who opens his legs, gets the cross in, is a good one. There's nobody there, but Shade is on the far side of the penalty area. Back it goes in, just too high for Wissa, away by Livramento. Collins can't get on the end of it, but Pinnock is there to clear things up and gets the ball to Mbeumo on the right again. Mbeumo facing up the Newcastle back line. numbers back for Newcastle. Out it goes to Norgard, and now he's got Vandenberg. Vandenberg plays inside. Yarmoliuk tries to chip it into Wissa, but it's not quite where he intended, and Scher is there to knock it clear, and a poor pass from Lewis Potter gives possession back to Newcastle with a throw-in.
Yeah, just that chance there came in from the right hand side, and it is that overload that Brentford worked for, and eventually the ball does come in. It dragged, because they had an overload, it dragged Dan Burn out, so he was out of position when the ball came in from the right hand side. So I think Newcastle were living on the edge there slightly. The ball didn't fall to a pink shirt, so they got lucky.
Yeah, this salmon pink coloured away kit that Brentford have this season with the maroon shorts, as they try to work it from the back. Yarmoliuk out to the Nathan Collins, who's just on the halfway line again, looking for options. Mbeumo makes a run, he doesn't go for it, he just knocks it inside to Norgard, gets the ball back. This time he flicks it long, and Mbeumo's offside, though he can't touch it, so Dan Burn is able to just play it back to Pope under pressure from Damsgaard, but he goes long, Pope. And now Murphy has a foot race with Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter winning it at the moment, but he's slipped and Murphy's in, edge of the penalty area. He cuts onto his right foot. Lewis Potter, brilliant to get back in, but still it is a Newcastle ball, and Harvey Barnes tries to get the volley in from the penalty spot, doesn't connect, down into the ground and up into the hands of Flecken. And now Flecken goes long, Shaddy's in, he's knocked it to Wissa with the header. Wissa's shot blocked, it falls to Shaddy, penalty spot to Mbeumo, edge of the area. He's got Wissa on the right, he doesn't take it the option, and now Wissa gets it, cuts in, left foot, curling ball, blocked, headed away to Damsgaard, cuts onto his left foot, a Newcastle foot gets in to Norgard, edge of the box, and that is charged down for Bruno Guimaraes. A frantic passage of play from end to end, Pat.
Brilliant, and defended by Newcastle was fantastic, but it was again skin of the teeth stuff. They're really pushing it on now, Brentford.
And Mbeumo with the ball, twisting, turning, trying to get past Livramento. Livramento does well, forces him back, and inside the ball goes, looking for Damsgaard. He can't quite get control, and under pressure from Dan Burn, who does really well, knocks it clear, but Collins is there to just touch the header to Yarmoliuk. Pinnock now inside the centre circle, out to the left hand side. Lewis Potter is there. This is a good spell for Brentford. They've upped the intensity. Lewis Potter coming inside, touches it to Collins up to this right hand touchline with Mbeumo again. He's faced up by Livramento, going inside, looks for the little left flick to Wissa, who does really well, and he goes down under pressure from the goalkeeper, and that will be a penalty. Wonderful run from Wissa. It looked like the opportunity is gone, but he gets a really good touch in it, and then in comes the challenge from Pope, takes his legs, and I don't think there are too many complaints there.
I think everybody knows ball's coming in there, and he's tried to almost get out of the way of it, Pope. He's dragged his hands away, but any striker knows what you do there. You just move the ball away and take the hit, and that's exactly what he's done. Very, very clever about it. They'd been knocking on the door for a few minutes there, 4 or 5 very decent chances. We'll get back onto it in a moment, because it should have been 2-0, because it was a brilliant opportunity for Murphy, and if this penalty scored, Murphy will be thinking about that as well as manager.
Well, VAR are having a long look at this penalty kick that has been awarded by the on-field referee Peter Banks. They've had their check.
There's no way they're going to disallow that. I can't. I'd be stunned if he did, because even though he didn't attempt to, get the player, he dragged his hands out the way. In simple times, he came out, didn't get the ball, and collided with the player.
Yeah, now Nick Pope being told to go onto his goal line, because the penalty will stand, and it will be Brian Mbeumo, who has a perfect record for Brentford from the penalty spot. He scored 7 out of 7 since Ivan Toney departed, 9 out of 9 in total. So Brian Mbeumo in front of the Gallowgate, the boos and the cheers and the whistles from the Newcastle supporters, trying to put the Brentford forward off. A puff of the cheeks, he stands left footed down into the left hand corner of the goal, and Brentford are all square as Mbeumo goes to get the ball back onto the centre circle and get this game restarted.
Do you know what? They deserve it over the piece. You've got to say that. I mean, they're very, very lucky there, and they're going to make this change now in Newcastle. I think they should have made it before now. I'm interested to see who's actually going to come off. I think it's got to be Joe Linton, because he's not looked fully fit for me. We should see who actually does come off in the end.
Well, Jacob Murphy is the first one to come off. He will be replaced by Joe Willock. And it will also, perhaps surprisingly, be Alexander Isak who makes way. And it will be Callum Wilson who comes on for him.
Jacob Murphy's not a surprise. We've been talking about in the last few minutes. He's not had his best day. He had the opportunity to kill this game off almost. 1-on-1 with the keeper almost. He done brilliantly to get into the position, but didn't let fly because he waited for Isak to catch up with him. But eventually he got tackled there by the player who'd got the ball off of Lewis Potter. That could have been the game finished there and there. 2-0 up, you couldn't see Brentford coming back. However, moments later, it's 1-1 and game on.
And now Shad is driving into the Newcastle penalty area. Good tackle from Trippier to put it out for a Brentford throw on the left-hand side. Still in Newcastle's defensive third. Brentford keeping the pressure on. Their back level. Newcastle 1, Brentford 1. Brian Mbeumo with that penalty to draw them level again.
He scored 2 tonight because of his he hasn't really. It was a deflection that went in, but it will still stand as Isak's goal.
And Brentford with the ball into the box. It's blocked, but it falls to Shaddy. Now the cross comes in. There is Pinnock, and that is well saved by Pope. I thought that was dropping into that bottom corner.
I think it's hit the post. I honestly think it's just hit the post there and come straight back into Pope's hands. I think Pope had no chance there. I may be wrong, but that was my first look at that. That's what I felt. In reality, at the moment, they're rocking, aren't they, Newcastle? They struggled for periods at the midway through the first half. In this second half, there's been a goal against and the penalty kick, obviously. Before that, there were 5 or 6 opportunities and one move for Brentford to score a goal. And that is a golden opportunity they've spurned. Newcastle once again are struggling.
It must have hit the post. I was waiting for it to nestle into the side netting down on Pope's right hand side, but it somehow ended up into the arms of Nick Pope. So a real opportunity for Brentford and for Ethan Pinnock to get themselves ahead in this match, and it does. It comes off the inside of the right hand post. And
I would say Pope wasn't within 4 yards of it. He just looked at it, watched and hoped. And his hopes came true.
Now Brentford on the attack again. Wissa turning, finding Shada on the left hand side of the penalty area, drops it back, and now it moves inside to Yarmouk. He looks to the right, and there is Vandenberg, he was about to get his head on that, but out comes Pope to grasp it out of the air.
There's a real feeling of uncomfortable uncertainty right now, not just from Newcastle players but the fans as well. I think that the goal just before half time had a lot of the problems that Newcastle were actually suffering from in that first half. The midfield hasn't been good enough. They need to get that under control again.
All square here at St James's Park. Brentford incidentally do not have a good record here in Newcastle. They have only won here back in 1934-35 season, their last win at St James's Park. And if they were to find a way to victory tonight, it would be their first double over Newcastle since that season, as Wissa wins a free kick just inside Newcastle's half. Joe Linton also down, but I think this time he's had a little nudge in the back. It doesn't look to be that troublesome knee bothering him, but Wissa certainly bothered by the kick he got down on his right ankle.
Yeah, well, first of all, he put his hand on his shin as if that was where he was hurt. And to be honest, I can't see any contact whatsoever with that right ankle. So unless he's gone over on it slightly, there was a bit of contact. It may well have been a foul, but yellow card, I think that's very, very harsh. But he looks lively again, doesn't it, Wissa, now? Suddenly, it's amazing the difference. The team's adapted slightly. I think Damsgaard coming on, it's given them a little bit of lift, because those forwards ahead of them now think, I make the runs, the ball will arrive.
Well, Damsgaard, he is well known for his assists as Newcastle clear that free kick, but it just goes high into the air, and It is now cleared by Callum Wilson, but he's clearing it to nobody because that is where he would expect to be. But there's a good run from Willock to put Lewis Potter under pressure, and he's managed to get a toe on Lewis Potter's pass back to the goalkeeper, but he's able to clear it up and then get it back to Flecken. Again, Willock sliding in, putting pressure on, and Flecken has hit it straight out for a Newcastle throw just on the halfway line. They're saying, or Flecken certainly saying, it took a little touch off a Newcastle player, probably Willock, as he slid in.
Oh, well, I think you and I had a better view than them because it came straight towards us, and I didn't think there was any touch. But the lift that's given the team, Willock there, just chasing it down, that's what hasn't been really happening for Newcastle for quite some time here. And they have looked second best for long periods of this. And you just wonder, I'm really quite surprised by the changes it made. Isak coming off is a real surprise. It doesn't always last more than about 60 or 65 minutes, but Isak coming off, you know, and who else is more likely to score for Newcastle than them?
Well, Damsgaard playing in. Shada, ball into the box, cleared by the sliding Dan Burn, but only as far as Shada on the edge of the box. And now Damsgaard goes down in the penalty area, holds his hands out wide. No penalty, says referee Peter Banks. And now Newcastle breaking clear. Tonali halfway line, but under pressure from Lewis Potter. He's not going anywhere, the Italian. Down he goes, and he gets the free kick.
Yeah, but not one single option ahead of him. Not one player showing for him, making a run for him. And Harvey Barnes was static there. Callum Wilson's come on, he was static there. And, you know, Tonali, he looks as if he's done the wrong thing there. He's getting no help whatsoever. It's a horrible feeling when you're on the ball being closed down and you think, well, get me out of a hole here, you know, give me an option. Nothing. And that's really been a problem for Newcastle for large parts of this game. And I think the Newcastle fans know that that is a problem for them just now. Hence why I was thinking it would brought in a wee bit more energy. Yes, Willock's shown a little bit of it, but from the midfield forward, there's not really been enough breaking.
Well, Lewis Potter giving away that free kick, and he has been given a yellow card. I imagine that is for persistent fouls as opposed to that one there on Tonali. But Brentford getting the ball clear, although not completely clear, and Barnes comes forward. Guimaraes just unable to take the ball under control inside the penalty area, and Norgard is able to move it clear, but his pass is poor to Damsgaard, and out it goes for a Newcastle throw-in just halfway between the halfway line and Brentford's penalty area. And Bruno Guimaraes now moves it on to the right hand side where Barnes finds Tonali, and that effort has hit the back of the net. Wow! Sandro Tonali left St James's Park with an unbelievable effort right out on the right hand side. He flashed it across Flecken's goal and into the far post, into the top corner. There was no saving that. What an effort from Sandro Tonali, and it is Newcastle 2, Brentford 1.
Where on earth did that come from? I mean, they've not looked good, they've not got forward anywhere near enough, particularly from that midfield area. But the angle that he shot that from, you have no right whatsoever to score from there. And, you know, the big question will be, did he actually mean it? Because he's in a position where 99.999 recurring times that's a cross. But he's pinged it with the outside of his boot, and it is lashed into the top of the net. Do you know what? I can't promise you he meant it, but it doesn't matter. It is some goal.
What a finish from Sandro Tonali, and the scarves, the black and white scarves, are being twirled all around St James's Park because the feel-good factor is back. They have not been at their best, but they lead here against Brentford, and Sandro Tonali, who scored twice in their quarter-final win against Brentford on their way to lifting that League Cup, has scored the goal that has put Newcastle back in front in this Premier League match.
There's no doubt it's against the run of play, Ailey, isn't it? It's so much against the run of play. I think Brentford had no consideration of anything else except going for a win once they get level there. So I think you said earlier that was an average of 4 goals per game.
Are you saying we might get more today?
Oh, we'll get 15 more minutes left to get another goal here. But I wouldn't even guess which side it would come for because it's such a strange game tonight.
It is, and it's Newcastle who have found a way to get themselves ahead, and Eddie Howe has spoken a lot about that this week, about how the consistency hasn't quite been there, and when they have performances that aren't at their best, they need to find a way to win. But my goodness, what a way Sandro Tonali found to hit the corner, the back of the net there from way out by the corner flag. And now it's Newcastle with their tails up. Livramento on the left hand side, Guimaraes edge of the penalty box, tries to back flick it into Willock, but it's blocked. And now Mbeumo is trying to get clear down this line. He's been tackled by Tonali, and that again has raised a cheer from the St James's Park crowd. Now Livramento cuts inside. He's got Cher has got Guimaraes inside the centre circle, moving forward. The little Brazilian out to the right hand side where Harvey Barnes is now, and he's got the overlap, and the ball comes in, and that's a good header away. And there is Guimaraes looking for a penalty, but it is a free kick that's given. There's been a clash of heads in the penalty area, and this looks quite serious. I think it's Nathan Collins that's down for Brentford, and Callum Wilson, I think, for Newcastle, the two players lying prone.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they've got a penalty kick there. Newcastle, had the referee not just blown his whistle a millisecond before that, because he saw the clash of heads, and it was a very, very ugly one, as you correctly spotted there. So the referee didn't wait for anything else to happen. About a second later, there would have been a penalty kick. But I'm just having a look at that. He's not moved there. I'm trying to see who it was.
It's Nathan Collins and Joe Willock are the two that are down, and they are both moving, which is positive. But I've just seen a replay, and it was a really nasty clash of heads just right on the 6-yard line. So both players still getting treatment. They'll take their time with this one, as they should do.
Yeah, they're moving, but they're not looking particularly comfortable. You know, as with players, they, you know, if they feel okay, they kind of move their legs a little bit and they half sit up. I'm just watching it now. Newcastle players beginning to lean up.
Yeah, there's
of course the medics do that, don't they? They say no, just stay static. We'll check the neck, we'll check everything. Make sure you're not concussed.
Yeah, Nathan Collins is up and just having still a little bit of a run through with the physio, and now Joe Willock sits up as well. There's 5 other games in the Premier League happening tonight. I'll just bring you up to date with the scores there. Ipswich, they were 2-0 up against Bournemouth through Broadhead and Delap, but Evan Nielsen has pulled one back for the home side. Aston Villa, a big scoreline for them so far. They're leading against Brighton by 2-0. Rashford, who started up front tonight for Villa, he got the first, and Asensio with the second. Manchester City, 2 early goals through Grealish and Marmoush have them 2-0 up against Leicester. Southampton, they are leading against Crystal Palace by 1-0 as well. Onuachu with the early one for them. And in the Merseyside derby, commentary over on 5 Live from Anfield, Diogo Jota has put Liverpool 1-0 ahead in that one. So both players up on their feet. Collins back on this touchline, just having a little stretch. He is certainly ready to come back on. Willock just making his way off the field of play. But there was a real shout just after the whistle had blown. Bruno Guimaraes got a big nudge in the back as he jumped to get on the header right inside, or just inside the penalty area, and you think that might have been given?
I would be absolutely convinced that would be given, because he was trying to control the ball. The player came in from behind him and shoved him. Didn't get the ball, didn't even go for the ball. So had the ball been in play, which it wasn't because the referee had actually blown his whistle, I'm convinced that would have been a penalty kick.
Well, we are back underway. Newcastle 2, Brentford 1. Just heading towards the 80th minute mark here at St James's Park. Still Collins and Willock wait to make their way back onto the pitch, but both are ready to return, so that is positive, and on they both come as Kieran Trippier prepares to take a throw in just inside Brentford's half. Forward it goes, looking for Barnes, but there's a Brentford head that gets on the end of it, and Brentford win the free kick. A little tug in the back on Lewis Potter, I think, as he went.
That push that Tonali had on Lewis Potter was exactly the same what would have been a penalty kick just a few moments earlier. So if it's a free kick out there, it should be a free kick inside the box. But as we say, the referee had blown his whistle. I don't think anyone's complaining about it, because it was such an ugly clash of heads in that situation. And by the way, well done the medical staff. Stuck to the protocols completely, took their time, kept the players down, made sure they were safe and secure, and it's a real big thing in football that head injuries have to be taken seriously.
Absolutely, as Wissa looks for Mbuemo, but he can't quite get on the end of the flick round the corner, and Livramento clears up, driving out of defence. Lovely touch from Joe Linton, back into Livramento's path, and he goes long, and Willock is in behind, but just too much on the ball, and Flecken able to gather as Newcastle look to break quickly. A little hand up in apology from Livramento, just too much on that ball through to Willock, who's looked lively, Willock, since he's come on.
He has. The pace has been good there, and he's stretched that defence a little bit, but once again I'm purring watching Livramento. Again, remember, he got the ball at left back there, dummied it past two players, played a 1-2, and then he was through to try and play the through pass. Everything else apart from the final ball about that move was absolutely brilliant.
Flecken with the ball at his feet, looking to launch it long, as he does right through the night sky here at St James's Park, but Dan Burn, the tall rangy figure of Dan Burn, wins that header, and Newcastle have it in possession with Joe Linton. Tonali, loose ball from Tonali, plays it back straight into the path of Wissa, but then recovers very quickly to win the ball back for Newcastle, and atoned for his error there, the Italian, the man who scored the second goal for Newcastle to give them that slender lead, as Joe Linton, under pressure from Norgard, wins the free kick, though just a little too much in the challenge from Norgard, as Brentford prepare to make another change, and Christopher Ayer is going to come onto the field to play. He's going to replace Ethan Pinnock.
He's surprised if maybe Van den Berg goes into centre back, possibly Ayer might go to right back. We'll see if that's a change that they're tempted to make, and as I say, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, also coming on to the pitch, Paris Magoma will come into midfield. He's replaced Yarmouk. So a couple of changes from Brentford. Magoma just 9 appearances this season, while Christopher Ayer, who was one of the changes to the starting lineup, he started the last game against Bournemouth, comes on as a substitute tonight as Newcastle win a throw-in just down below us. Brian Mbuemo went flying, but Joe Linton helps him up as Livramento stands midway between the halfway line and Brentford's goal, ready to take this throw-in. A little bit of movement, he's looking for an option. Still he waits, but there is the option from Guimaraes in the centre of the pitch. He flicks it forward looking for Barnes, but it falls straight at Van den Berg, now in that central defensive position, where he gets it back from Lewis Potter, and back it goes to Flecken. Brentford have 7 minutes of the 90 to try and find an equaliser in this game. They have played very well, but they find themselves behind as Collins' ball up the line is headed clear back to Collins, and again his pass up the line is cut out by Livramento, and back it goes to Van den Berg, the deepest Brentford player on the pitch, looking for options. He's got Magoma alongside him, and now to Collins, forward to Mbuemo, drops it back to Norgard. Beautiful ball through from Damsgaard, but Ayer just not able to get on the end of it. That's the kind of pass that Damsgaard can play right through the lines.
Yeah, and very similar to what led to the goal. So at this point in time, I think the stuffing had been knocked out of Brentford just for a few moments, maybe 5-10 minutes after that goal was scored, but they are capable of lifting themselves again. They won't give up, because they have created great opportunities. That, again, keep on saying, that final shot, there was that just before they lost the goal, the 2-1 goal for Newcastle. They had a period in the box where 5 or maybe 6 times they could have got shots away and didn't, just never quite got that shot away. Whereas you look at the goal that Newcastle scored, I don't even think there was a shot on.
It was from a ridiculous angle, wide on the right hand side, only around 5 yards or so from the byline, and Tonali found a way to goal, and it certainly lifted the mood around St James's Park, full of celebration when we arrived tonight after that League Cup victory. But Brentford had silenced them and they hope to silence them again. And Buemo on this right hand side cuts inside, but Joe Linton does really well to get a foot in, and now he drives over the halfway line. He's got Callum Wilson ahead of him, who he finds now into the penalty area, rolls his foot over the ball, right foot, and that whistles past the post. It got a touch on the way, but I thought that might nestle just inside the right hand post. Wide it goes.
Yeah, he picks the ball to just slightly left hand side, and I see Willock trying to go and overlap, to get a ball slid into him, and I'm saying, you kidding yourself on, mate? Centre forward passing that situation, not a chance in the world. He was always going to have a shot there, but he's got a right to do that. That deflection could have gone anywhere. I'm spot on to say that, and I think Brentford just a little bit lucky there.
Well, Callum Wilson's next goal will be his 50th for Newcastle. He almost got it there, but that deflection took it out for a corner, and Trippier stands over that corner. Newcastle leading by 2-1 with 4 minutes of the 90 left. In the ball goes deep to the back post. Barnes is there. Good effort from Barnes. Blocked. It's fallen to Shade, who's trying to dribble out under pressure from Barnes. He's all in his own Shade. He's twisting and turning, and he gets support, but Dan Burn gets a foot in. Too much of a foot in on Norgard. It's a free kick to Brentford, and Shade did really well not to lose the ball in a dangerous area there as Brentford try to turn it into attack. Good pressing from Guimaraes though to try and win it back, but Mahoma gets his foot on the ball, and now Ayer tries to turn under pressure, and there was a late challenge there on Mahoma as he played that ball, and it will be a Brentford free kick just on the halfway line.
Bit more tigerish from Newcastle there. They know how close they are. It's at 87th minute now. They're just a few minutes away from getting the 3 points that, I'm not completely sure they deserve all 3 points, but it doesn't matter. But the tigerishness of the tackle now from Guimaraes there, and then coming over from that right back position, Trippier as well.
Flecken goes long looking for Collins, but there's a Newcastle head in there, and it doesn't fall quite right for Shade, and Damsgaard though able to pick the ball up and drop it back to Lewis Potter, who goes long again looking for Collins, but Pope is there to clutch it and roll it out to Guimaraes, and now there's an opportunity for Newcastle to break. Guimaraes driving forward, Ayer trying to get back and put him under pressure, but he's got Barnes on this right hand side cutting into the left foot, edge of the penalty box, looking for options. He goes down the right. There's Wilson, and that Wilson, I think that was a cross along to the in front of goal. It was very close to Flecken, but he's not able to get on it, and there's nobody there for Newcastle. But Willock almost making that run at the right time.
Wilson's run there into the corner, gets to the byline, puts it across, looking for Wilson, because the right person to be in there was the man who played it, and he almost looks around and says, why don't you all give me a ball that I've just given to you? And to be fair, that was great movement, great run there, and Newcastle are going to make another slightly defensive change.
Yeah, Emil Kraft coming on, and he replaces Kieran Trippier, who goes off on that far side.
He's done well, Trippier. You think about it, nothing really fancy a lot of the time. Remember Kieran at his absolute best. He's flying, the crosses were brilliant, putting the ball into dangerous areas all the time. Not being as much of that, apart from one very specific occasion, but he's done a job and he hasn't been beaten very often, so he can be pleased with his evening's work.
Yeah, Emil Kraft, who has been returning from a broken collarbone, came on as a sub against Manchester City and also in the final against Liverpool, so he's back available for selection, and he comes on and will play just in that right back position that Trippier has vacated. He will be a little bit more of a defensive right back though, Pat.
Yeah, I mean he's there for a number of things, but he's also physically quite good and imposing as well, so any late crosses and corners etc, maybe a little bit more physicality than Trippier at that back post. Having said that, there was one period in the first half, there was a cross to the back post and Trippier defended it beautifully back there, when as I think you said in the commentary, that would have been almost a tap-in goal had he not done that, and he's been applauded all the way around the field, Trippier, as he walks past us now.
Yeah, well, we have 8 minutes added on to this second half.
It's a long time, but that head injury's obviously part of it. There's been a number of substitutions as well, but that's a long 8 minutes for Newcastle right now.
A long 8 minutes, probably for Newcastle, because Brentford, they will push no doubt to try and get level again in this game. They've managed to get level once before, but then Newcastle, with that sublime Tonali effort, took the lead again, and they will be happy just to keep hold of the ball. Scher looking for options. He's got Kraft, the substitute, who goes long and looks for that run of Callum Wilson, who's trying to get there ahead of Lewis Potter, but Potter does well. But there is Wilson to snatch it off his toes. He's got Barnes keeps a hold of it, left-footed effort deflected over the top of the bar. Corner it will be for Newcastle, and that was very nearly played into a very dangerous position, Lewis Potter.
Yeah, just now referee's going to come over and book somebody. I wonder if it's not Eddie Howe. It's Eddie Howe's assistant. He's going to get a yellow card there, which obviously says something to either the fourth official or the assistant referee. But once again Barnes comes in there, and I've got to say it, he's wrong. He shouldn't be shooting there. He's got two players in far better positions there that he can pass it to. As I said earlier on there, when you've got Anthony Gordon breathing down your neck, you want to score a goal, and the wrong thing to do there. And I only mention it because Harvey Barnes is clever enough. He knows what he should be doing, what's the right thing for the team.
Well, Bruno Guimaraes goes over to take the corner in front of the Leeds' end to shouts of Bruno. He is certainly a favourite here, the Brazilian. In it goes, right foot, and that is all the way across the face of goal and out the other side. A wicked delivery from Guimaraes.
Yeah, and Flecken, heart in his mouth there, because that ball zips across, I would say 3 yards out, right in front of him. He doesn't come. Defender ducks and says, I knew all along there was no one behind me. Well, we'll have to believe him that one.
We will indeed, as Flecken goes long, looking to try and spark something, but Byrne is there, wins the header as he so often does. Tonali volleys it forward, it takes a touch, but Wilson's on it. He's now played Willock in. Willock up against Vandenberg, he gets the left foot effort away, and Flecken dives out and plucks it out of the air. A good break from Newcastle. Brentford now trying to work one of their own. We're into the 3rd minute of added on time. 8 added minutes here. Wissa over the halfway line, driving forward, looking for the ball through to Shade. Gets on the end of it, right hand side of the penalty area, flicks it into the middle. There's Damsgaard, and that was an opportunity, and he fires it over the top of the bar. What a chance for Mikkel Damsgaard.
Just in that moment, he gets the ball, his first touch is good, but Dan Burn slips over right beside him. Now that's exactly what happened for an earlier goal, and almost exactly the same place. It was in Bruno on that occasion there, but just when you want to be on your toes, ready to make the tackle, but Dan makes his first mistake of the night. But he's very fortunate, he gets away with it. Damsgaard cannot get it on target.
No, fires it over the top of the bar. A real opportunity for Brentford to get back level in injury time in this second half, as Pope fires it long, headed up in the air, and again, but this time Collins gets it down to Lewis Potter, who goes back to Flecken, and Newcastle quite happy for Brentford to have the ball in those sorts of areas. Flecken goes forward though, but there again is Dan Burn with the header. Cheers from the Newcastle crowd, but it goes as far as Collins, who's got Magola inside, looking for an option forward. Damsgaard over the top, looking for Shada. It's fallen well for Shada, right foot, great save from Pope. Shada heads it in, and it's cleared by Scher. Another opportunity for Brentford goes a begging. They're trying to get themselves level. Another chance, this time it fell to Shada. Collins inside, Damsgaard again drops it back. Magola inside to Damsgaard, who played that beautiful ball through for Shada. He's knocked over by Guimaraes. That'll be a free kick for Brentford.
Well, I'm happy you called it a beautiful ball, because I think by some distance the best pass of the evening, by a country mile it was. He wasn't even looking the right way. The pace on it was beautiful, the imagination, everything was perfect. Just couldn't finish it there, but there's not many players that can play that pass. Damsgaard is one of them.
Yeah, Shada's effort at the end of it. Pope getting down and clearing it with his legs. But free kick now for Brentford. Damsgaard will take it. It's midway between the penalty box and the halfway line. He clips it in. He's looking for Collins, but it's come off Joe Linton's head, and it will go behind for a Brentford corner. 95 minutes on the clock.
Every Newcastle fan turns to look up at the big screens to see how long there is. Goalkeeper Flecking on his way up now. There's been a lot of corner kicks. They haven't looked that dangerous so far. Can they make it count this time?
Well, I have to say, I have Mark Flecken in my fantasy football team, so if he was to get a goal now, there might be a celebration from me for a completely different reason. But in comes the corner kick, and it's gone into power of bodies, but it was a Newcastle head that got it away, but it's come back to Damsgaard, left hand side. He flicks it in again, and there is the header, and it's into the hands of Nick Pope, and the cheers around St James's Park. Vandenberg got his head on it, but straight at Pope.
Yeah, Pope's very relieved at that. It was a clean header though, but he was going backwards, couldn't get any power on it. He thought for a moment, Pope, of two things. One, to play it very, very quickly, because one player, and that was Willett, was getting away quickly, but also Flecken was nowhere near his goal. He may have tried to score himself, but certainly he knows what the most sensible thing was, and that was to kill the time if he could.
Absolutely, as the ball goes long, looking for Mbeumo, but Livramento is there. Mbeumo scrapped well though, he's won it back, but his pass inside cleared by Tonali, hoofed into the stand here, as Newcastle are going to take a little bit of time to make another change, and it's a change that you might have wanted to see a little bit earlier, Pat, because Lewis Miley is going to come onto the pitch with barely 2 minutes left of the added on 8.
Yeah, to be honest, I've been watching the young Miley warming up a couple of times, and he looks, I know he says all the right things, but he looks gutted that he's not playing, and that's exactly what you should feel, even though you're a young player. And the thing about Miley, apart from being a classy player, I think he is 6'1", 6'2", and there's a corner kick coming in now, so that should help.
He is a big lad. He replaces Harvey Barnes as Brentford prepare to take this long throw. Kevin Shada on the right hand side, just up to our right. Movement in the penalty area. In comes the throw, but there's a player down. It is Scher. There's a blow from the referee's whistle, and Shada will have to take that throw again. Just a coming together of bodies in the box. The referee off to sort that one out.
Yeah, I think he did blow before the ball was actually thrown in there.
Frustration for Kevin Shada, because that's about the best long throw he's had all night.
He's got another chance.
Here he comes again. Inside it goes. It's flicked on, but there's Willock there, there's bodies there, and Shada gets a touch past Guimaraes, fires it into the box. It's cleared. Guimaraes goes down. He's caught Damsgaard. Guimaraes' hand is in the air. He looks hurt, but Damsgaard was looking for the penalty, but Willock driving forward over the halfway line. He plays the ball out to the right towards Miley, but Mbeumo is back there inside his own defensive area to try and clear it. It comes off Miley, but it's cleared again, and this will go out for a Newcastle throw. But that was an interesting coming together in the penalty area.
But are we going to have a look at it? Have they looked at it already? Referee, is he interested? No, he's telling them to play on. It will not be a penalty kick.
We might get a little look back at it here, and Bruno Guimaraes certainly catches Damsgaard, but is he in control of the ball, might be the question that's asked.
It doesn't matter where it happens. If you kick somebody and don't kick the ball, it's a foul. So I think Newcastle are breathing a big sigh of relief there. That could have been given.
Nothing given there, and Newcastle now looking to just try and see this one out. We have the full-time whistle blowing. I was about to say we're well into the 98 minutes, and there is the full-time whistle, and Newcastle, Eddie Howe will be very, very pleased, despite it not being the performance that we saw in the cup final against Liverpool. He wants to find a way to win games of football when they are not at their best, and tonight they have done that. Goals from Alexander Isak right on the stroke of half-time, and an absolute beauty from Sandro Tonali either side of Brian Mbeumo's penalty means that it finishes here with victory to the home side, Pat.
It does. I think Brentford will feel very, very hard done by, and I understand that. They got themselves in great positions. They had pretty good opportunities. One particular one headed off the post and come straight back out into Pope, and again could have changed completely in that second there. Newcastle a decent distance away from their very, very best. It may well be that there is a tiredness, and there was a little bit of after the Lord's Mayor's show, but they've scrapped, they've battled, they've got there in the end. They've one or two very good performances in the middle of that park there. I mean, I have to say, I think Livramento was head and shoulders above anybody else out in that field today. But Brentford could be proud of themselves. It's not a disaster this season, but for Newcastle, they have still got something massive to fight for right up to the end of this season. They've got Man City on their sides.
They certainly do, and the victory tonight moves them up to 5th place, with Chelsea playing against Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow night. So Newcastle move up to 5th. They remain just a point behind Manchester City in that race for Champions League football. But Thomas Frank out there on the pitch, he may well ponder why they did not get a penalty right at the death when Damsgaard was caught by Bruno Guimaraes. Nothing given, there didn't seem to be a long check, Pat. It was waved on the play, but it'll be interesting to see what the Brentford boss has to say about that.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'd like to look close enough. We saw it live. It looked to me as if it could be a real opportunity for a penalty kick. I saw one very quick replay, and it made me think even more. So it's one of those ones, had the referee given it, I'm not sure they'd have changed his mind. That sort of situation. So that will exercise Thomas Frank without a doubt. But I think he will also be disappointed that his team played as well as they did for long periods of the game and didn't test Pope quite enough. But we'll probably go further back than that. He will go back to that header that hit the inside of the post. And had that gone in, their star would have been rising, and they could have got all 3 points easily from that. They didn't, and that's how tight it is in this Premier League in the middle to upper echelons.
Fine margins indeed, and Brentford's 100% run of away victories over their last 5 games comes to an end here at St James's Park, a place that they have not won now in 10 visits. It is Newcastle who cheer the 3 points. It is the Newcastle fans who are staying to applaud their team, their League Cup winning team, back in action and back with another victory, a vital victory, as they chase down another target this season in the terms of Champions League football. It is finished here at St James's Park. Newcastle 2, Brentford 1.